Going to attack. Oh, also this thing is in here as well, in range spot there. So he's going to attack with 2 attacks again. 4 patches. Does 2 damage. So Patches removes 1 shield and takes 1 buff HP damage. He does inspire him to attack, so he's going to roll 1 attack versus. In this case, it's actually Picket, I think. That has, or they're equal. They both have 8 HP at the moment, so it's whoever I pick. So we're going to pick Picket because he rolled a bone, so it means he does no damage at all, and he's untargetable. But I'm not going to attack him anyway, so I don't care. So that's that. Next up is Vol'Kesh. Vol'Kesh is going to start by rolling her Tyrant die and 3 attacks. She can roll no more shields, so that's to our benefit, actually. So she got Ring of Fire again and did 2 damage with a bone. So I take 1 shield away, and he reduces the damage by 1. This is going to be gone. So we do 2 damage, true damage to everything that's not next to her, which is for everything else on the board besides me. So my characters take no damage, and these guys all take 2 damage. Damn it, this guy was almost dead. This guy is dead, and he's the bigger threat, so that's okay by my book. This guy's like, he's a non-factor. It's what you would say, a complete non-factor. So I think at this point, the battle's probably going to be ours. I think there's very little chance that we fail. So I would regenerate by 2, but I took no damage on Patches. Patches is going to go 1, 2. Next to Vol'Kesh. That's 3 dexterity left for him. And we're going to throw a Toxin on Vol'Kesh and throw 2 attacks. And I swear to God, Patches, if you get bones on this Toxin one more fucking time, so help me God. All right, much better. 2 damage, removes her shields, setting up Picket to do some damage. And she's got 2 poison on her. So at the start of her turn, she'll take 2 true damage, which does in fact remove her thick skin. And keep in mind, thick skin does not reduce damage to shields, only damage directly to HP, and it does not affect true damage. No, true damage. Thick skin does not reduce true damage. That's only Hardy. Hardy reduces true damage. So over to Picket. Picket would also heal for a regen, but again, he's taken no damage, so he doesn't. But this turn, we have no weaken on us, so he's going to roll 4 attacks and his 2 shields, like an actual G, and we'll see how much damage he does. So he did 4, 2 shields, and a bone. So that's 5 damage total, reduced by 1, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 by her thick skin. So she's got 3 HP. So once she takes her true damage next turn, she'll be down to 1. So we got this in the bag. His untargetable goes away. He's going to attack the weakest unit, which is anyone of my choice. So we'll just pick we'll pick Patches because he's got a bunch of buff HP, and he'll put up a shield. But he's again not a factor. So 1 damage, 1 shield. Oh no, not my buff HP. How will I ever survive? How will I cope with this outcome? Oh man, they haven't even done any damage to me. They haven't even done any damage to me, bro. So she takes 2 true damage, not reduced by thick skin. Thick skin does not touch that. Reduces the poison to 1. So she's going to roll 2 shields and her 3 attacks and her Tyrant die. So best case scenario, she rolls her AoE again and kills this guy, leaving her alone. Worst case scenario, she rolls the reflect damage, which would be mildly irritating, or she rolls the ML8, which would hurt my units. So she did, in fact, deal 2 damage with a bone and put up 2 shields. So that is 1 damage reduced, which is 1 shield. And she is going to reflect all damage that we inflict on her for the next turn. But I could do nothing and she'll die to the poison. So Patches is actually going to kill this guy instead, because he's not untargetable. So Patches is going to roll 5 attacks versus that thing, because I can. And I did 4 damage plus a bone. So this guy is dead. Going for a full clear. Nothing left. Scorch the fucking earth, just like Vol'Kesh would have done. over to Picket. Picket, of course, doesn't give two single shits if he's going to take damage from hitting this thing. So he's going to roll his 2 shields and full attacks like an absolute god. So I have full bones, not 6 but 5 on him. I dealt 6 damage and a shield. So that's 7 damage total. So 2 to remove the shield, 1 from thick skin. Makes 3 total, and then she takes another 4 and dies, and then he takes 4 back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, not the 4 damage. What will I ever do? Although technically, I suppose he only takes 1 reflected because he actually only dealt 1 damage to her life total, and then I heal myself with the kelp, and I'm back to full for a perfect textbook finish. Take that, Vol'Kesh. And unlike the base game, there are actually epilogue cards for the characters. So I will read that. This is Vol'Kesh's epilogue. Her head ignites. The fire that once shot only from her mouth explodes through her eye sockets as an armor-melting inferno engulfs her skull. Vol'Kesh has terrorized many regions of Daylor in recent months, but the reason has never been entirely clear. The kobolds claim her motives are pure, both figuratively and literally, an attempt to set things back to the beginning after the Council's perverse experiments. It's impossible to say for sure, as the line between good and evil is getting harder and harder to decipher. And if we were doing the campaign equivalent of this this scenario, then you would also get her Tyrant die to use in further fights. So what that would do is, if you roll, and this is rolled before each battle, so you get a permanent buff, essentially, and it goes into your active or your temporary. Oh, I see, it's trap. Okay. So the effects are, if you roll her shield, you get the next time this Gearlock is attacked, prevent all damage and negative effect dice for that turn. That goes in an active slot. If you get her Ring of Fire, then she gets instead Cremation Station. Place trap on an available position on the battle mat. The first unit to step onto that position ends its movement and is dealt 2 true damage. Or, if you get the Immolate thing, which I never rolled during the fight, instead, all baddies that enter the battle mat start with HP reduced by 1. So a very, very powerful reward for beating her in the campaign version of this. So that wraps up this iteration playthrough of Too Many Bones Undertow. I probably made a mistake here and there, but overall I think we did pretty well with the rules. And obviously we set ourselves up pretty well by the end of that. I think I've pretty cleanly displayed why getting more dexterity, health, and attack are your best options for ensuring victory, and splashing a few abilities here and there for consistency. Stats give consistency, and then stats for particular either buffs or benefits against particular enemies. As you saw in the first fight we were in, not having an ability like Toxins hurt us in trying to eliminate the dodge baddie. And the same would have been true if we had to fight someone with hardy or thick skin, for example, if they had a particularly beefy unit. But in the end of the day, I could have also just been needle jabbing him down with Patches' ability too. So we had options for killing a unit like that, but we ended up not thinking that through. And so instead we had to fight to the fatigue round. But all in all, I think this went pretty well. And obviously, if you think that the way that the battle mat is set up and the way you can visually see it is sufficient for your purposes of playing externally, then we can do this on next weekend. And if not, then no big deal. We'll just skip a week. So I will see you all when I next see you. Okay, so this is going to be my attempt to record and stream Too Many Bones as best as possible externally so that if we try to play it next weekend, it is doable. So I'm going to try and set up the board in a way that is as easily legible to everyone as possible. And we will see if this works well enough. So for this session, I'm going to be playing Picket and Patches. We're going to be facing Vol'Kesh, the dragon from Undertow. So you may be unfamiliar with the Undertow board, so I'll try and walk you through how that works as we're playing. So I'm playing on the normal difficulty, which is what we normally play on. So Patches got his first attack upgrade, so that was his training point. He got that spent on. And Picket, I tried to also get his attack roll, failed. So instead of taking his stand ground ability instead. So we'll take the first card off the top of the deck, and away we go. Tools of the Trader. At last, daylight. It appears that there are others who know about the escape route via the sewer. A lone, frantic Molnor trader sprints past at a good pace. While the city guards have turned and are now in hot pursuit, this means any remaining cover is blown as well. Escape should be easy enough, but the question is whether to take that poor sap along. She's dropping plenty of loot behind her as she flees, and she should distract the guards long enough for an escape. But helping her could pay off with some good fortune down the line. So her options are to give her assistance, so the loot will be left behind, but she promises to spread the word of your kindness to her fellow traders, which shuffles the special encounter Molnor Adventuring Reference Guide into the encounter deck. So I've taken this choice before on a different card, and basically what that does is later, if we manage to get that special encounter, you get an option to either flip all of the cards face, all of the enemy chips face up permanently for the rest of the game, or you get a I think you get a dude who follows you, and you can feed him loot, I think, to basically flip the current encounter card to the bottom and pick a new one instead. So actually, so I took the face-up chips, and that was super helpful because it was basically free scouting permanently. And then if I saw an enemy that I didn't like, then I just tried to scout so I could put him on the bottom. And our other option here is meh, haste makes waste. After grabbing a couple of the goods she dropped and making a short sprint, the tree line is in sight. The Molnor trader is quickly apprehended, slowed down by her supplies and cumbersome cloak. Hopefully, justice is served. So if we don't help her, we instead get the mountain of a Molnor hill into the encounter deck instead, which is probably going to be a tougher encounter. But I actually want to see what that encounter looks like, so we'll take that option because we also get a free trove loot. Either way, we get a victory point and a training point. So we will take the second option and get our trove loot. So we'll take 1 for Patches and 2 for Picket. Get our 2 training points, and let me get an 8-sided dice for the victory points, because Vol'Kesh requires 7 to fight her. That will do. As for the training points, first and foremost, we're going to try and train Picket's attack instead. So we'll try our second attempt at this to give him an extra attack. As you can see, we succeeded. So we'll take the 1 attack, put that on the sheet. And then for Patches, I already gave him the attack, but he's lacking the dexterity to do all of his actions. So I'm going to pump his dexterity by 1, which we again get to do for free since it's dexterity. And then we'll shuffle this into the stack. We'll put this here for reference. So end of the day, we get to make a single lock-picking attempt. So these are our 2 trove loot options. It's probably a little difficult to see the numbers at that distance, but the one on the left has 2, 2, and 5, and the closer one has 1, 2, 4. So the 2, 2, 5, 1 is a drone, and it basically lets you use the drone to change an encounter's choice to instead just the baddie points for the day and nothing else, but you still get the offered rewards if you succeed the battle encounter. but it can't be used for special or tyrant encounters, obviously, because those are way too powerful. And you get 2 uses out of it, so that's quite strong. And the second one is called Mechanical Squid. So during the recovery phase, choose one of the following and perform it. 1, draw the next 2 cards in your encounter deck. If one is a water encounter, choose to place it on the top or bottom and shuffle the rest. Or 2, reveal and cycle the next 2 crown in the crown baddie stack. So basically just lets you sort of avoid all bad water encounters which are specific to Undertow, or we can just cycle through the crown stacks. But frankly, there's only 5 options in the crown currently, so there's not really much benefit to that. So I think we will do our best to unlock that instead. So since we are making our first lockpick attempt of the day, Patches is going to try. So we need 2 lever. So we got a +1 and 1 lever. Got 3 trip. So that actually unlocks the first 2 locks, and we can only get a maximum of 3 force with the final dice. So we'll skip that roll since we can't win no matter what. And Picket will instead try to unlock the second lock because you can spend your lock picking attempt on anyone's trove loot. It doesn't have to be yours specifically. So we got a flip, a force, and then 3 trip twice. So unfortunately, that's not going to... Actually, this is a reroll, isn't it? Then in that case, we'll... Can we even... No, we can't, because we need another 4 force, so no dice. We failed on that attempt. But that's okay. We'll have plenty of attempts in the future to unlock those. And I'll just sort of slide it under my mat to note that those 2 are unlocked. So I already spent our training points for Patches and Picket. So the day cycle flips up to 2. And the lockpicking attempt is not our only option for the day. That's a separate part of the recovery phase. So we will also do our best to scout. So we got a 1. So we'll check the 1 stack. Still useful at this time. So it's the stupid compound kobold losers, the 2 HP, 2 on the board, but they have compound and hardy. So pretty annoying, but not that bad. And if I manage to get another training point, I can probably get Toxin for Patches, which will handle these guys pretty well. So we'll keep him on the top of the stack. And for Pickets, got a 6. So we're not going to see 20s for a while, so we'll take a look at the 5s. So the top of the 5 stack is the Primate Trapsmith. He's got 6 HP. He's got a 4 on the initiative stack. He attacks 3 times and has 1 shield. He has Blind Strike and Trap. So Blind Strike is, at the start of his turn, he immediately deals 1 damage to whatever is the highest health unit next to him. And he'll do that to enemies or gear locks. It's as the name implies, it's blind. And Trap is at the beginning of the encounter when he enters the board. The first gear lock who enters the battle, like the battle mat, which is obviously up to us. You roll a d6, and depending on the result, something happens to your gear lock. I don't have the reference sheet for that handy. Actually, let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Should already have had this out. Where did I put the damn thing? My little box will be good. The advanced sheet. Where is it? Damn it! It's not this one. It's in the other box. Shit. Okay, bear with me here. Anyway, in the long and short of it, this unit is fucking annoying, so we're throwing it at the bottom of the stack because I don't want to deal with that nonsense. And we'll move on to our second encounter. Pirating the Pirates. The escape went off well enough, but making a raft from scratch is too time-consuming with Nobulus's machinations' imminent arrival. Fortunately, a keen Gearlock eye spots a shady group of marauders that has already done the work. known locally as the Scrap Lords for their practice of picking clean those unfortunate city folk who venture a little too close to the Sibrin. This ragtag group of vagrants often patrols the banks near Obendar, looking for its next mark. Today, we've caught them napping. We can take the raft now in broad daylight, or we can wait till nightfall and escape under the cover of darkness. So we can either commit a brazen act of piracy in broad daylight, baddie points are unaltered, and we have surprise, which means that we start at the top of the initiative order for the first round, and for the rest of the combat for that matter. Each gearlock may draw a loot during their first turn, may be used or kept. So a free loot, essentially, and no less, we get it immediately. But we can also commit a brazen act of piracy under cover of darkness, because you're ashamed, and you should be. The baddie point queue is not changed. We have surprise, but all of us have to start in crown starting positions. So the other thing that's different about Undertow is that there's two sides to the board. This is the land side, and you can see there's these numbered spots on the outer edge of the battle mat. So on the land portions, mech units can spawn, which are an entirely different subtype, and they have 3 for their unit number. So that alters the baddie queue in a lot of different ways, typically speaking. Conversely, if you flip the board over, you get the water equivalent. So you can sort of maybe not see this too clearly, but there's a raft in the center. And the other major difference is that land fights, your units spawn on one end and enemies all spawn on the other end. On rafts, it's you spawn in the middle and enemies spawn on the opposite sides. And you can see that blue, each of the colors reverse which side melee and range spawn on. So blue's melee is here, green melee is here, and so on in a zigzag formation. Anyway, more importantly, the water units spawn in these positions, and on their turn, say I have a random crown enemy, and they spawn on the first section. On their turn, if there's no one available for them to hit in range, they shift to the next numbered position. So again, they'll also move in a zigzag formation. And then they'll try to attack anyone that's in these positions. If there's no units, they'll make an attack against the raft instead. And if they successfully hit the raft, i.e. they don't roll any bones for their attack, any one attack will do, they'll instead put a debris tile on the raft. And debris tiles occupy the space, and if you want to move onto that space, you have to spend an extra dex to get onto that debris. And if there are already 4 debris on the raft, and a crown hits the raft a 5th time, if they successfully hit the raft for a 5th debris, you lose the encounter, because your raft is no longer ship shape, essentially, and you crash. So crown can be quite damaging. Likewise, gearlocks can't spawn in the water tiles, and if you start your turn in a water tile, you have to move off the water tile onto one of the spaces, and it costs you an extra dex to do so. So in other words, while we will have surprise for the first round, we will also have to spawn in the crown starting positions, which will be here, 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 and here, presumably, if we want to try and hit the units that are there. So a bit of a detriment for the first turn, but not completely undoable. And we do get surprise. And the benefit, of course, is that we get 2 training points instead of just the 1. So I've never done that, and I'm actually eager to see how difficult that makes the fight. So we're going to take that. So it's day 2. We got 2 gearlocks, so as per usual, it'll be simply 4 bad guys spawning, and no water units in this particular encounter. So first and foremost, this loser is going to spawn in the 1 position. He is melee. He has 2 on the initiative. He spawns right there. Next level 1 is, a timid geophage. So this is a 6, 5, 6. Is that right? Yes. So he has 6 HP. He has no attacks. He will try to throw up a shield on his turn, and most importantly, he has treasure and flee. So this is another new unit type for Undertow. He is a melee unit, so he'll spawn over here. Treasure units on the 2nd and 5th turns will immediately escape the map if they're still here, and they will steal 1 loot from a gearlock of your choice on their way off the board. But if you successfully kill them before they run away, they instead drop a treasure die, which looks like something. Where did I put the... Ah, there they are. Treasure die, which looks like this. So you probably can't see it too well, but it's got a bunch of different loot types on it. So if you kill him and drop the loot die, you have to spend 1 dex on your turn to pick up the loot die and use it, and then you immediately get the result. So very, very nice. Sort of an additional source of loot. So if we can successfully kill that guy, we certainly will try, because more loot is better than none. So next up, we have a Dragon Biddy. Pretty weak unit. He's got 3 HP. He starts 4 on the initiative track, which is a little annoying. But he only has 1 attack, but he does weaken 1, and he doesn't have to roll bones for that. He just does. But he is also a melee unit, so not too bad. And then finally, a very annoying unit, because I won't even be able to hit this idiot. That was a mistake on my part. Should have got an ability of some kind instead. So this guy has Blind Strike 1 and Dodge. So dodge units strictly cannot be damaged by attack dice at all. So you can only damage them with abilities or with fatigue. Fortunately, he only has 2 HP, so we will get an opportunity to kill him using the fatigue rounds eventually, but we'll just have to try and wait him out. Also, for reference, Blind Strike will not strike themselves if no one is adjacent to them. They simply just won't attack anything at all. So that is something to keep in mind. So as for us, I'm going to have Picket start. Let's see what. So that he attacks weakest, but they're all melee, and the dragon's over there. So I'll probably try. I don't know, with 2 attacks, can I even kill that treasure goblin before he flees? Probably not. So it's probably better to simply do my level best to kill these enemies instead. So we'll start these middle tiles, and he'll start here. And obviously, since we have surprise, it doesn't matter what I roll, because we get to start at the top of the initiative order. So we'll say that Patches goes first and Picket goes second. He actually doesn't even have a 4. Doesn't matter. So turn 1, Patches is going to move off of the water onto the battle mat. So that costs him 2 dex to move. So he has only a single dex left to attack with. And I will, of course, be using it to strike at that dragon. We got 1 attack, reducing its HP by 1. Picket is likewise going to do the same to move onto the mat. I also forgot to roll his defense. Picket, at the start of the combat, gets to roll his maximum defense and keep any defensive results. He does not, however, get to keep the bones. Oh, that's a pretty good result. So he starts with 3 defense. Put that in his active slots. And since he only has 2 dex, he won't be able to do anything else this turn. So then yellow will go, and since he's right next to Patches, he'll attack me for 1. And he does successfully do 1 damage to me. And I am unfortunately weakened, so I'll only be able to attack him once next turn. But that's okay. Not the end of the world. Meanwhile, Green Boy tries the Wild Strike. No one's there. He'll go 1, 2, and attack Picket for 1. Doing 1 damage, removing 1 of my shields. Blue Guy, the hardy compound loser, is going to attack me once because it's turn round 1. He also hits me for 1, leaving me with 1 defense. And then finally, the purple guy is going to move nowhere and roll a shield, which is not super relevant because he's going to leave at the end of next round. He has 1 shield, though, just for reference. Round 2. Round 2 fight. So Patches can only roll 1 defense, and I have 3 decks, so I'll just roll a defense and an attack since I can. Do nothing else at this time. So I rolled a bone, unfortunately, and a shield. So I'll put up the one shield, and my weakness goes away, but it's going to get put right back on in a second. Next, we're going to, we have 2 dexterity, so we're going to throw an attack and throw up another shield for Picket. Because we'll have plenty of turns to wait that guy out to roll our stand ground. So we can spend a bunch of turns just basically taking him in the face. So we did 1 damage, and we got another shield. So that's good. So this guy took 1 damage. So we're on our way to murdering him. Yellow guy's going to attack me for 1 again. He got a bone, so I'm unfortunately weaken does affect you even if you don't do damage. So that did happen. Oh, it's actually, and then green, he's going to blind strike me for 1 automatically, and he's going to attack me for 1. And he got a bone, so he does no damage. Cool. Blue is going to do nothing again because he already rolled his shield. And then finally, purple. No, sorry, that was purple. My mistake. Blue is going to attack me twice because he has 2 attacks now because it's round 2. He got 2 attack. So Picket's going to take 1 damage because he had 1 shield remaining. Put that on his mat. And then purple does nothing. End of round 2, this guy runs away. He's gone. We've essentially defeated him for free. So we'll put his chip over here in the exhaust pile and remove that from the board. So back to your boy Patches over here. So Patches still has his shield, but I am weakened, so I can only roll 1 attack, unfortunately. So I actually think I will remove my shield and re-roll it because I could actually use the bones to use my backup plan, and he did do 1 damage. This guy only has 1 health left. Picket on his turn. Oh, also, start of my turn, Patches has his active, or his passive, he'll heal for 1, so I'm back to full. Picket, on the other hand, has 2 dexterity still, so we're going to attack this guy for... It's a pretty low chance to roll a bone on the attack, so we're going to do it. Fuck it, YOLO. And it paid off. We got 2 shields and 1 attack, so the compound guy is dead. And the biggest threat on the board is eliminated. So yellow's going to go, again attacking me for 1 and weakening me. He did do 1 damage, so Patches loses that HP he just gained back. And I am again, unfortunately, weakened. Then this guy is going to blind strike me for 1, doing 1 damage, and then attack me for 1 as well. He did 1 damage, which removed the last of my shields on Picket. So doing pretty well so far, round 4. So Patches is going to go, and I'm still, unfortunately, weakened. So we'll roll a shield and an attack. So we got another bone, which is great. Actually, so I'm stupid. I can use Needle Jab to kill this guy because backup plans are not attack dice. And this guy is roasted and toasted, as Dylan might say. And you're eliminated to the discard pile with you, loser. And I'm no longer weakened, which will be nice, although not relevant for this enemy. So over to Picket. So Picket can't do damage to this guy in any way, shape, or form. That's actually not true. He could shield bash him if I had the bones for it, but we're not interested in doing that right now because we want to roll his permanent regen. Unfortunately, we did not get it. We got a bone and a shield. So we're going to put that back in our spot and do our best to wait. So green guy is going to blind strike away our shield and then attack us for 1. He does 2 damage because he's a rude boy. 2. And then the round kicks over to round number 5. So start of the round again. Patches will heal. So I am going to take 1 fatigue next round. So if I roll another 2, Picket will die. But I kind of want to try and roll his stand ground again. So we're going to move Patches next to him with 2 dex, and he has 1 dex left, which he's going to spend on a shield. Got another shield, not bad. And his blind strike, I think it hits the strongest unit, the blind strike. So it will hit Patches, which is ideal in this scenario. So over to Picket. Again, we're going to roll 1 shield and his stand ground. And hopefully we'll get... Damn it. Okay, we did not. So we put up 2 shields. We got the bone again. So we're just going to put the bone in his lock because we're not going to get another opportunity to roll that anyway. Or we could get one more try. We might as well commit at this point. So blind striking hits Patches, takes away his shield. Then he's going to attack the weakest unit, which is still Picket. And I have 2 shields up, so he can't hurt me no matter what he does. So he does 1 damage and takes 1 of my shields away. And then we kick over to the fatigue round. So Patches takes 1 damage and then heals 1 damage. This loser takes 1 damage. And Picket also loses 1 health. So Patches is going to roll his shield and the 2 attacks because although I can't do damage to him with my attacks, I can potentially roll my 6 bones. And we did not, unfortunately. But he did get a fortunate discovery. So since this guy will die at the end of this round, I'll use the fortunate discovery and get 1 of my actives. So we have the poison dart, we have the revive. So we have liquid life or poison dart or E cells. E cells are worthless to us. The poison dart is pretty good, but I think I'll get toxins as my next build. So I'll get liquid life instead. So Picket's going to go with his final attempt to get his super ability. And we failed. Well, it is what it is. C'est la vie. You know, you win some and you lose some. It'd be like that. So he's going to blind strike Patches for 1. And then he's going to attack Picket for 1 as well. He does 1 damage, which loses his shield. We go to the fatigue round again, and he dies. GG. Womp womp. So no treasure, but we did more or less clean up this combat. So for the recovery phase, we're obviously going to heal Picket to full. And we'll heal Patches all the way to full. Actually, not relevant. He only has 1 damage. We'll leave him with the 1 off so we can scout instead. So we were successful, so we get 2 training points, and we also get 2 loot, 1 each. So we got the plated skull, which lets you use it 3 times, and at the start of the round you may place a 1 defense die in your active slot. And then we also got huckleberries, which lets you heal on Jason Gearlock for 4 HP or yourself for 3 HP. So I'm going to give the plated skull to Patches and the huckleberries to Picket, because that makes the most sense to me logistically. So we get 2 training points. So we're going to give, since he's got so little dexterity, we're going to give Picket a dexterity. And then I think, what will we do? Shield form would be quite useful. So I think we will try and get that up and running. Since shield form, once it's up, gives him a permanent 1 defense, which essentially means he gets thick skin 1. And he'll reduce any damage to him by 1. So that's his 2 training points. For Patches, as I noted before, I'm going to get his toxins because they're very strong, and we need ways to kill units like that. And then I think I'm going to go for his stim kit, which is his blue line of skills, because the final level of stim lethal lets you basically permanently increase a unit's HP for free. So if we can kite down to that fast enough, that would be very helpful. So now we're on the recovery phase. As I said, we're already healing Picket to full. We're going to let Patches stay on the damage, and instead we will scout with Patches recovery phase. So 2, not great, but not terrible. It's another one of these weakened guys. These guys are chumps. We'll leave them on the top. Also reset. round counter. Also, we can still lockpick. So we have a single 5 force left on this. So I'm going with both of their attempts to try and unlock that. So 5 force, that is the roll we're looking for. So we got a swap, we got no forces, so a complete failure. So no sense, anything of that nature. So we got, again, a bunch of trip. If it was a trip, then that would have been useful, but no dice. So we, again, are unsuccessful at unlocking the Trove Loot, unfortunately. I find Trove Loot is often quite difficult to unlock, which is why a lot of these encounters will actually give you the opportunity to get the unlock for free. So we're at 2 victory points. We'll slap this down here. We're on to day 3. Fish and ships. The river teems with mud gullets and rivets, frog-like creatures that subsist on nothing but riverbed silt, leaving the river crystal clear underneath the blistering sun. The Sibrin's depth varies dramatically, and locals often debate about whether the lowest river floor is merely a few or hundreds of arrow lengths deep. Whichever is true, the water is deep enough here to swallow the ship we see below as we slowly pass over. The sun is brutal, and we're completely famished. Some fishing in the shade would allow us some respite, but the potential of sunken treasure is tough to ignore and beckons us to dive below the waves. So, our options are fish and chips. The battle queue is completely fishes. So at the end of each round, remove a fish if not already defeated, then add a new fish. The battle ends at the end of number round, where the number of rounds is equal to our party size, and we gain 1 buff HP for each HP removed from all of the fishes. And we may distribute these as desired. Alternatively, treasure, hold your breath. Each gearlock draws 1 Trove Loot to make a lockpicking attempt. Reduce HP equal to number attempts by that gearlock. They may not lose their last HP. That gearlocks may attempt to open another gearlock's Trove Loot. Successfully opened Trove Loot are kept and remain unlocked. Unopened Trove Loot are immediately discarded. Regardless of our choice, the encounter success is achieved no matter the outcome. But obviously, either we get buff HP or we get Trove Loot. So in other words, Patches can make a total of 4 attempts, and Picket can make a total of 6. So the buff HP would be relatively useful, but honestly, both of my characters are quite tanky, so that's not as beneficial as it otherwise might be. And since you get otherwise no benefit from the top option, or rather no permanent option, buff HP only lasts for your next combat and then disappears after that. The Trove Loot, however, is permanent, so we will make a Trove Loot attempt. So we will draw 2 more Trove Loot, and we have a 3/3/3 and a 3/3/4. So we will start trying to unpick that one. And there's no round order in this, so Patches is going to lose 1 HP for his first lockpicking attempt. And we'll just cycle between the 2 of them for each of these attempts. So we need to get 3 force, 3 trip, and 3 lever, 3 trip, 3 force in that order. So we're looking for 3 lever, and we got 2 lever plus 1, which is 3, so that's locked. We got 2 trip and 2 force, so we can re-roll this once, and this is the trip dice, so that's actually quite likely. And we succeed, so that's completely unlocked. First try, let's go. And we got the Aqua Cannon. It's a backup plan extension, which means that if I had 3 bones, I could use this instead of my current one. So it says, move any baddie up to 2 positions on battle mat. During a water battle, this may be used to force a 1-point baddie off the raft, defeating it immediately. So we are going to do that. We're going to give that to Picket because Picket's backup plans are otherwise pretty trash. And we're going to lose 1 HP. Actually, it makes more sense to lose HP on the same person. So again, Patches is going to lose an HP to unlock this because when we heal ourselves at the end, we get back to full no matter what. So there's no reason to spread the HP. So again, this one is 3 lever, 3 trip, and 4 force. So 3 lever is the first one. So we got 1 lever, 2 trip, 3 trip, and a +1. So I think we will leave the 3 trip and these +1. So which one is the force dice? Is this the force dice? It's got force on it, but it's not the force dice. This is the force dice. Nonetheless, we'll make a single reroll attempt with these two. So we got 2 trip and a flip, which is actually perfect. So we're going to flip this to 2 lever, which gives us 3 lever and 3 trip, which unlocks the first 2 locks. So we're going to make another attempt by losing 1 more HP. I can only make 1 more attempt on patches because you can't use your last HP. So all we have to do is get 4 force. And we got 2 force, 1 force, 2 lever, and a +1. So we're successful. 4 force, easy clap. So our second Trove loot is the Arm Energizer. Backup plan extension 2 bones. Heal yourself for 3 HP. Cannot be used if adjacent to a crown starting position. So less useful on this configuration since we need to be in the middle portions. But in a land battle, you could use it anywhere. So obviously Patches can already heal himself with his healing options. So despite the fact that he already has the other backup plan extension, we'll give it to Picket because his 2-bone extension is Shield Bash, which in my opinion is one of the worst backup plans in the entire game, for what I should suspect are obvious reasons. And the game says nothing about Trove loot you already have. No, I think I'm not allowed to make additional attempts on gear I already have in my inventory. I think that's probably clear. So Encounter is successful. So we get to keep the Trove loot, obviously. We get a single training point and a victory point. So we're up to 3 for the victory points. We get another training point. So for Patches, another attack wouldn't be amiss, but I could also move up his line. So what does Stim Belt do? I think Stim Belt is a buff HP, right? Yeah, so it's an even better buff HP than the first one, I think. Yeah, the options are all higher because this one has a 2 and this one has no 2s at all. Okay. So if I'm not mistaken, though, his buff HP you have to actually put into his active slots to use them. Right? So Stem Kit has that active. Yes. So that is the gimmick. So unlike other sources of buff HP, which just exist irrespective of anything else, for Patches buff dice, once I've rolled it and I got a buff, let's say I got the buff HP, this goes into my active slots, and while this remains in those slots, I have 4 buff HP. If the 4 buff HP goes away, this dice is exhausted. Or if I'm attacked by, say, a unit with Mischief and this is exhausted, I also lose the buff HP. So convenient, useful, but not the end-all be-all. Also, multiple sources of buff HP do not stack with one another. Buff HP, both in D&D and in this game, is like the analogy, as it was explained to me, is that imagine that you are a member of the X-Men and your buff HP is your X-Men uniform. You can put on your uniform and you have the durability of the jacket, but you can't put another jacket on top of your jacket. In order to put the second jacket on, you have to take the first one off. So if you want to get a new source of buff HP, so say I rolled a 5 on this other dice. Where's the 5? Oh, there it is. I don't get 9 total buff HP. I can either have the initial 4 or 5. Either or, not both. Likewise, if I've taken damage and I get buff HP, the buff HP does not heal me. And you can't put buff HP on a unit to pick them back up either. As the analogy was explained, you can't put the jacket on to contain the blood that's already out of your body. So that's how buff HP works. So I think I will actually try for an attack, train an attack, because 2 attack is pretty low, and we need a bunch. And I succeed. So that's Patches, training point. And then for Picket, he's got 2 attack and 2 defense and 2 dexterity. I'm actually going to increase his dexterity to 4, because that way he can roll all of his dice at the same time. And that is that. So as for recovery, obviously, as stated, we're going to heal Patches to full. Picket is going to scout. 3, so another 1 on the 1 bad EQ. So this is a chimp half-wit. He has 3 HP and starts at 3 on the initiative. He has no attacks, but he has blind strike 1 and 1 mind. So when his turn starts, units with 1 mind make every other beast unit, which is denoted by the purple paw print at the bottom of the chip, and it makes all those other beast units hit their current target. So I don't know if that means, say, for example, I had another beast on the board, like say this guy was here and this unit was here and this guy was over here. I don't know if his 1 mind would make him attack that unit, but it definitely makes them attack us. So this is a extremely dangerous unit, although it's only particularly dangerous if there are other beast units on the board. And he only has 3 HP, and he starts at 3. So I think I'm pretty much guaranteed to start before that guy with Patches. Yes, so Patches has his lowest possible result is a 3, and his highest result is a 4. So I'm guaranteed to start before him. So we'll keep him on the stack, because he should be relatively easy to kill. And then finally, we can make a final attempt at the Trove Loot again. So we're going to try for the 5 force that we're still missing. So first we'll be making Patches attempt to unlock it. And again, 5 force is the number to beat. So we got 2 force, 3 lever, and a flip. Perfect. Okay. So we flip that to 3 force, 5 force, done. Easy clap. So that is unlocked. So that was the drone. As mentioned before, I can essentially use it to just ignore an encounter if it's a particularly nasty one. And I guess since I have it, I might as well try to unlock it. So the mechanical squid could be useful. So it's 1 lever, 2 trip, and 4 force, as you can see there. So we're trying for 1 lever, 2 trip. So we got 2 lever, 3 trip, and 1 trip with a +1. So we're actually going to do 4 force is the other number we need, which unfortunately I'm pretty sure this is the force dice. Yeah, this is the force dice. So we could, and no, we actually can't. Now you can't. No way. Can't get, 3 is the max for individual dice. But we did successfully unlock the first 2. So we'll denote that. We're keeping it on its side over here. And maybe tomorrow we might be able to unlock that. But for now, it remains out of our reach. All right. Now then, on to day 4, right? Yeah, day 4. Next encounter. Unsettling origins. We're starving, unable to hunt for food for days. Well, maybe we should have gone fishing after all. Due to strange increased mech presence. We take 2 out and 4 more show up, but that's about to change. While scavenging for mushrooms, we hear the telltale whir and clank of hydraulic doors. The same doors found within our beloved council chambers. The sound leads us to a clearing where mechs appear and vanish in a large underground opening, totally unaware of our presence. Finally, we have the element of surprise. Scratch that. The tripped signal wire at our feet says differently. A siren rings out. Our number is up. So, option 1, shut off the siren. Baddie points will include 2 mechs on top of our current baddie point in total, and our dex stat is reduced by 1 for round 1. And there's no benefit. If we ignore the siren, instead, our baddie points are we add a number of mechs equal to our party size. So since we only have 2 gear locks, that is exactly the same number of baddies. So there's no downside to picking that option. And in fact, we get an additional training point for picking it. And so therefore we will. Additionally, if we're successful, we may find the special encounter Council Labs Research and Development and place it on top of the encounter deck. So that could potentially be quite useful to us. So first off, the baddie points, we're on day 4, so it's a total of 8. So a 5 stack, which is the Dragon Grounder. That's rude. We get 3 level 1s. And then we get the 2 mechs, which get added to the bottom of the stack, like so. Also, obviously, since we are on land, we're going to flip the board around again, like so. All right, so first the dragon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He is starting. He's 5. Why are the dragons always so goddamn fast? You'd think a thing that large would be a little slower. So he has 7 HP. He's going to start in the melee position, which is here. He has 3 attack, 2 defense, and he weakens for 2. Pretty nasty. We also have a little dragon who has 3 HP. You saw this one on our previous fight. He starts at 4. And he is a melee unit on the purple position. We have the Blind Strike loser with 3 HP. Blind Strike. He is at the yellow position, and he is also melee. So our benefit here is that when he starts at the 3, he will hit the dragon that's next to him. And finally, oh no, there was another one of these losers. So it's another one of these dodge motherfuckers. So this guy starts at 4 on the initiative track as well. He also has Blind Strike, and he has Dodge. So a thoroughly annoying fight, all things considered. So first things first. And we rolled poorly. So we're also at 3, both of us. So we will start before the yellow guy and no one else. So we'll go in that order. Picket first and then Patches. And then finally, we will roll Picket's defense dice to start. Nice, 2 and 1 again. A respectable roll to start. So obviously we're going to put Picket in front of the dragon because he's our best choice to try not to get murdered by him. Meanwhile, we're going to put... We'll put Patches over here, and we'll see if I can murder this unit immediately. And if I can, then we may just be able to avoid a wipe. But we'll see how it goes. So turn 1, this dragon loser is going to attack Picket 3 times. Strike us twice. And there's nowhere I could have put my units that they couldn't have been attacked by this guy. And none of my trove loot would have theoretically, although I could have, for example, used the drone to essentially, in this case, remove the mechs. But frankly, the biggest detriment to this fight is the dragon, so it wouldn't help us in this case. So he did 3 damage, and he put up 2 shields. Not terrible. So he removed all my shields, did no damage, but he also weakens me for 2 automatically, which is all of his attack dice. Purple guy is going to walk 1 space down and attack Picket again for 1, and he will weaken me by 1. Unfortunately, weaken does not stack, but status effects, bizarrely, actually do counter effect one another. So I take 1, and because I've been weakened 1, it actually reduces. And poison works the same way. It's a very weird system. I'm not sure why it works that way, but it does. And our blind strike boy is going to try to blind strike, doesn't, and then move 2 spaces towards us. All right, over to Picket. So Picket's turn, we're going to roll shield form and the heal and the 2 dexterity. Since, yeah, 2 dex, yeah, the two shields rather. Because he's not going to kill this thing with 1 attack anyway. In fact, he can't even if I roll perfectly, he can't damage it at all. And I'm not worried about the little one either. Ooh, not bad. Okay, so we got a shield. We got a bone. And we got the locked heal regen. So that's pretty good. It might be useful to take the heal for his shield bash pull-up option. So Picket has his backup plan extension to heal himself for 3. I think that will actually be useful, so I'll keep that there. Yes, I think that's what we will do. Over to Picket, or Patches, sorry. Patches would heal for 1 if he had any damage, but he doesn't. So instead, he's going to attack the unit in front of him for 3. Can I throw toxins? No, it has to be target. Yeah, it has to be next to me. 3 damage. Easy. 1, 2, 3. That does, unfortunately, mean that one of these mechs is going to come in. So this is one of the weak ones. That's not bad. So mechs are unique in that, if you can see it, he has yellow shield. So yellow shields are when the unit enters the battle mat, he starts with that number of shields on them. So you can see he only has 2 HP, but he has the shields instead. And then his ability is self-repair 1 and swap. So at the beginning of his turn, he'll put one of the shields back up for free. He doesn't roll it. And swap means when he's next to a unit, after he attacks, he'll swap places with them. They'll flip around. So he'll be starting at place 1 next turn, which is immediately. Round 2. So other weird thing about mechs and Kreln, respectively, is that they don't have a starting position per se. Instead, you roll a d6, 1, and they start on that number position, like so. And he starts with 3 shields. So we'll give him a 2 and a 1. So Blue Boy can't put more shields on himself, but he will still attack me for 3. Because he's a dick. He rolled 2 bones and 2 damage. So Picket does unfortunately take 2 damage. 1, 2. No, sorry, that takes 1 damage. He's got 1 shield. I'm done. Boop, boop. And the weakened 2 goes back on. Because he's a jerk. Next, Mr. Purple Boy is going to attack him for 1 with a weakened 1. And he does 1 damage. So I do, in fact, take that 1 damage I said I did. See, I was predicting the future. I didn't make a mistake. Green is going to blind strike, no one next to him. So he's instead going to move 2 spaces. 1, 2. He's now in range, so he's going to attack Picket for another 1. This is looking pretty dire. He did 1 damage. So Picket, I'm going to not take the damage off because he's going to heal back with his regen. So that happens. I'm going to use his backup plan for 2 to heal for 3, which puts him back up to full. Next, we're going to roll his stand ground again and his 2 dexterity, because again, he's just here to soak the hits. He's not here to do damage. Patches is here to do damage. So 2 free movement and 2 bones. So the 2 bones is actually pretty useful in this case because that's another free 3 heal. And free movement is actually not that bad, but not useful in this case because what we really want is the defensive equality. So we're going to put that back. Oh, actually, I could attack for 1. I still have 1 dexterity left, so we will in fact attack the little dragon there, since we can't hit the other guy, and I took it off of him, but he still has 2 shields. So he did 1 damage. So that's 1 on the dragon, and the weaken disappears. So Patches would heal for 1 if he had any damage, which he doesn't. And then he's going to, let's see. So the blind striking is actually quite irritating. So I think I will go over. So that's 1. I have 2 decks left. I'm going to put Toxins and a buff HP onto Picket. Or sorry, onto Patches, rather. Perfect. So we got the best possible result of the buff HP and 2 on the poison, which is the maximum roll. No, that's not true. You can get 3 on this too. So we're just going to put the die right on him because it's easier. And then Patches puts the buff HP into his active slot, and I get 5 buff HP. So the rulebook actually tells you to put the buff HP in your staging area to denote it, but I actually find it easier to just put it right on top of your unit, just like that. And I feel that makes it a lot more visually apparent what's going on. So next, Mr. Yellow Boy is going to move 2 spaces, and he's moving towards the weakest unit. So interestingly, buff HP does not qualify for calculations of weakness, and Patches currently has 6 HP, and Picket also has 6 HP. So since I have no shields on Picket and a bunch of free HP on Patches, we'll have this loser attack Picket or Patches instead, and he will attack for 1. And he did 2 damage, so we lose 2 buff HP. But it's essentially free, so we don't really care about that. And we're on to round 3. So Dumb Dragon Boy is again going to attack Picket for 3 damage. He got 3 attacks. So Picket's going to take 3. 1, 2, 3. Pretty nasty. Green Boy bleeds to death immediately at the start of his turn, so he doesn't get to blind strike anyone. He just dies. And normally, you would blind strike at the start of his turn, but because poison is also start of the round, you get to pick the order that those resolve. And I am obviously picking the best option for me. So our new mech unit is the Mech Hound. He has 3 HP. He starts at 3 on the initiative board, but obviously since he's starting new, he'll be at the 1 position. He has 2 attack and 2 gold defense. He has swap and disruption. So swap, as described, after he attacks, he'll flip places with whoever he attacked. Disruption, on the other hand, is a pretty nasty one. So if he rolls any bones, he activates disruption, and that immediately sets the round counter to the fatigue round, which in this case would actually be pretty useful to me, perhaps. So maybe we'd actually like that. In any case, over to Picket. Picket is going to heal for 1 because of his passive regeneration buff. And he is no longer, actually no, he was attacked, so he's got weaken 2 on him again. Actually, sorry, weaken 1, because again, it stacks down. So we got 4 decks, so we're going to do the same thing we did last time. So we're going to roll his free defensive dice, 2 defense and attack against this unit. Actually, you know what? Maybe it would be more useful to attack this guy so that Patches can try and do some damage. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll attack the robot. So we got 2 defense. That's useful. We did do 1 damage, so that is moderately helpful. And we got the bone again. Oh, and then we're gonna use our backup plan to heal him for 3 again. No, actually, no. We'll wait until he actually has 3 damage on him to do that. And I guess no, we won't keep the bone. We'll put the stand ground back. Not super useful. So Picket. Sorry, I can't. Too many units with P's in the start of their name. Damn it. So Patches he needs to do 4 damage to this guy. So I have 3 attacks and 3 decks. So that's what we're going to do. So I need you to roll a 1-2 at the minimum and 2 1s at least, or 2 2s. You know what? Fucking roll 3 2s, man. You do you. I'm not asking for much here. Be a Chad. Oh, that's almost amazing. So he got a bone and 3 damage. So he takes just the 1, unfortunately. Oh, also, forgot. Not that it's super relevant, but they swapped places. So they should be like so. All right. Cool. So yellow guy goes, and as noted before, he's got self-repair, so he gets 1 shield back for free, and he's going to attack Patches for 1 attack dice. So he does 1 damage, so again, my buff HP is removed first. Also, thing to note about buff HP, normal damage will take buff HP, will take shields, then buff HP. True damage goes right through buff HP and goes directly to your underlying HP. So it will not prevent poison and the like from hurting you. Because the poison, it seeps through your jacket and gets into your veins. Since we're still maintaining that analogy. So round 4, this weirdo comes in. So he's going to start in the 2 position, which is on the opposite side of the board over here. That's actually to our benefit. The longer we have to deal with him, the better. So Dragon, again, is going to attack me for 3. He is a problem. I don't know. I guess we're going to have to just have Patches fucking murder him. So he did 2 damage and threw 1 bone. So that removes both of Picket's defense. And that's all. And of course, Weaken 2 is now on him. The purple dragon is going to attack him for 1. Doing 1 damage, which does set this down. We do take 1 damage. Picket's going to heal for 1. I don't even know why I'm doing that. Okay. And so since he has weakened 1, we're going to do, wait for it, 2 defense, his defensive dice, his permanent 1, and a single attack on the dragon. Who could have seen that coming? Fuck me. Can I roll? I can't. I seriously can't roll this damn dice to save my fucking life. What does Benevolence do? Is that a heal? I think it's a heal on him. Benevolence says heal him for 2 HP and put 2 defense dice on his active slot. Actually, I kind of like that. Or instead, I could try and get his innate. But honestly, you know what? No, that's not worth it. We're gonna immediately exhaust and get Benevolence. So he heals for max HP. His weaken goes away, and he gets a free 2 shield. So Picket's innate is that he gets to roll defense dice for free at the start of the round, and his +1 innate is that instead of putting those rolled shields into his active slots, they go in his locked slots. The problem, of course, is that if you're playing Picket correctly, you should be getting his infinite ones into his locked slot as much as possible, and he only has 3 locked slots. So all 3 of his infinite ones will occupy that, meaning you've no opportunity to put defense into his lock slots anyway. So completely worthless, in my opinion. So that is his turn. Patches, still full HP, is going to murder this guy, get him off the board. So we're going to roll 3 damage to guarantee the kill, hopefully. And it's a good thing we rolled all the dice because we did guarantee it with that. So this guy is toasted. Roasted and toasted. See ya, loser. There's almost no point in putting these in an exhaust spot because we've got so little gear mech unit, so I just put them directly on the bottom instead. It's easier that way. So the yellow guy no longer moves. Green is going to move 2 spaces towards us, so they'll go 1, 2, like so. On to round 5. Again, dragon, fucking cuck boy over here is going to attack us 3 times. Who could have seen that coming? He did 2 damage. 2 damage, as you can see. So that removes 2 of my shields and puts the weaken 2 on me. Dragon, little dragon, is going to attack me for 1. does 2 damage because he's a bastard. So he's actually going to do 1 damage. And set the weaken to 1. Then I go, and I get the HP back because I have my regen. And wait for it. We're going to roll stand ground and an attack and a defense versus the little dragon. Fuck, can I? Okay, 3 defense. We did get an attack off, so we'll take 1. Actually, we did 1 damage last time, didn't we? Yeah, he's dead. Get out of here. And purple dice goes away. Weaken goes away. And we got the bone again, so we're going to put that away because I don't need the bones in this case. So Patches goes. He's going to move 1 space up and unload all of his attacks into that loser. Unfortunately, I can only roll 2. I got a bone and 1 damage. Patches has a backup plan called Needle Jab, which sticks the target for 2 damage, but since he's got the shield in the way, I don't really feel like wasting it on doing a single damage. So we'll save that for next turn instead. Alternatively, I might be able to get something more useful instead. Green boy is going to move over, and I'm sorry, he has the yellow shield, so he has 2. So he's going to attack 2 times. And he has disruption, so it doesn't matter in this case. He hits me for 2, removing my 2 shields on Picket. I have 1 shield left on Picket. And then we're into, because his disruption doesn't matter, because it's already the fatigue round. Yay, everybody loves fatigue round. All my homies love fatigue round. It's the most fun. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Patches, get no damage there. So Dragon Boy is attacking me again 3 times. He's going to put back up 1 shield. Did 3 damage and puts up another shield. Fantastic. So 1 damage is reduced, and he takes 2. 1, 2. He heals for 1 because of the regen, and he is unfortunately weakened by 2, which means he can't attack at all. So we're going to again roll the defense and his stand his ground because I can't roll more attacks anymore. Again, the bone. Can I get a fucking break on this? How fucking hard is it? Well, this is only 1. It's 2 sides on it, you fucking bitch. Ugh. No dice on that. Over to Patches. He heals for 1. So he fatigue round basically does nothing to Patches. He gives no shits. So he's going to attack the dragon for 3. And ideally, we want to do some damage. Remove the shields. Perfect. Okay, I got another bone. We got 2 damage off. Remove those. I did get a fortunate discovery upped with my bones, which would let me get a poison dart, which at the minimum rolls 2 poison, I think. No, actually there's 1 on 1 side. Or I could needle jab him immediately for 2 damage. So I think in this case, we will do the needle jab and do 2 free damage immediately. 1, 2. Because we can expedite his death via fatigue. Green boy is going to attack. Oh, right. Also, I am dumb. So wrong, and wrong again. They would have swapped, which means he would have attacked Patches. So for the next, assuming I didn't fuck up, that would kind of change the battle, but we'll just pretend that wasn't the case. So Robot Boy attacks for 2. He does 2 damage, removing both of Picket's shields. And this time they will swap places. He still does the 2. So fatigue round is maintained. Patches takes 1. The dragon takes 1. The robot takes 1 somehow, despite the fact that he's a robot and really shouldn't feel fatigue at all. And Picket will take 1. And he loses that. So, Dragon, since Picket is no longer next to him, he will instead attack me for 3 and put back up his 2 shields. So he did 3 damage and rolled 2 bones. So no shields, which is a benefit, and he did 3 damage. So 1, 2, and 3. So we did exhaust all of my buff HP, and I now am weakened for 2, which is not great. So Picket has 4 decks, so we're going to move 1. We're going to attack twice and also roll the stand ground again. Also, I heal for 1 because of his passive regen. Well, we did 2 damage, which is great. That means at the end of this round, no matter what, the dragon dies. And I got the bone again, which we're going to put away. Green guy is going to move in the direction of the weaker unit, which is, in this case, still Picket, right? 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Actually, they're both equivalent. But I think, in this case, Picket is less likely to die, so we'll let him attack him for 2. He does 1 damage. 1 damage. And the round ends, and everybody takes 1 damage, starting with this loser. Get out of here, you trash can. This guy also dies. See you later, alligator. No one liked you anyway. And then, technically speaking, we also take the fatigue damage. So, if, for example, because in the rules, we all take it simultaneously. So if we all died on that final round, we would, in fact, lose the encounter. So that's something to keep in mind. We were victorious, though. So we get 2 victory points, which puts us at 1, 2, 3. I was right. Okay, now we actually are at 5. This keeps getting moved. 5 victory points. We get 2 training points and a loot each. So we'll start with the loot. So we got Cibron Kelp, which says fully heal yourself if currently at 1 HP, otherwise heal for 2 HP. And the Hearing Sensor, reveal the top 2 cards of the encounter deck, placed back on top of deck in any order. And I actually don't have any open slots in my loot for Picket, so we're going to discard this because that's not super useful to me at this point, since I already have the backup plan Eliminator drone instead. So we'll tick to 5. Obviously, since we took a substantial amount of damage, we're going to heal to full for both of them. We'll get our skills unexhausted. Those of us that have skills, that is. And then we also get 2 training points. So for Picket, I think we're going to get another attack. Well, rather, we're going to try, and we failed. So we'll spend that training point on Sword Advance instead. God only knows if we'll ever be able to fucking roll it, but it's worth a shot, I guess. That's 1. So we're going to make a second attempt at training attack with a different training point, and we succeed. So he's got 3 attack now. Over to Patches. So Patches, we're going to get 4 dexterity, and I'm going to get the Stim Belt upgrade for 14 on his stat dice. Not bad. All right. I already moved up the day counter. So there's one last thing to do, which is lockpicking attempt. So we have a 4-force lockpick to try and break. We got 2 attempts to do so. So 2 force and 2 force, and a reroll makes this 2. So that's, or a flip rather. No, is that a reroll? No, that's a reroll. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We got 4 force, easy. So now we have access to the mechanical squid, which again during our recovery phase we can look at the top encounter deck, and if it's a water encounter, put it on the top or bottom, or we can reveal and cycle the next 2 Krelm in the Krelm baddie stack. So I actually think we will look at the top 2. So we got Amalgamech or Let's Give It a Whirl. One of which is, in fact, a water battle. So what does it say for this? Choose to place it on top or bottom and shuffle the rest. Oh, actually, I don't really... Oh, actually, forget I said that because I forgot we get a different encounter because we get the special encounter added to the top of the deck. So we get the Council Labs Research and Development, right? Yes, we do. And that goes on top of the stack. So, Council Labs Research and Development. The smell of formaldehyde is so overwhelming you can almost see it hanging in the air. Steel beds line the outside of the room, creating an ominous perimeter around a massive shelving system in the chamber's center. Leather straps rest across each of the metal cots. The shelving houses numerous jars, gears, sprockets, eyeballs, entire limbs. It looks much like Tink's repair shop might if he was forced to merge with a morgue. Something evil has been done here. The door to a connecting room bursts open and a horde of mechs are ready to protect the lab. So, options are tuck tail and run. This looks awfully dangerous. Best come back prepared. Or push them back. Baddie points include Abomination Prototype, which is a specific mech on the stack. And we get 2 loot if we successfully beat the encounter. And if we're successful, we immediately find and proceed still today, with another encounter. So I've actually done this series of encounters before, and there are 2 more encounters on the list, and you have to fight all of them concurrently without healing at all. But if you do successfully reach the final encounter, you do get quite a bit of a benefit for doing so. So the final encounter, so the next encounter after this one, if we do fight it, gets us another 2 loot. And if we do the final encounter, then we can either change one of the gear locks into the Abomination, which is a weird option, to put it mildly. Or we get a trove loot. And we get finally 2 training points. So honestly, the 2 training points are pretty sick. And the potential to get 4 loot all told for each character is pretty cool. But frankly, I'm already full stacked with loot anyway, and this encounter takes forever, so we're going to basically say nah. So we're going to basically just fuck off and put this on the bottom of the stack. So we're in fact going to start with the next encounter as anticipated. So on to day 5, right? Yes, we're on day 5. Very good. Amalgamech. Get out of the way! Steel and cables spring to life, and a mechanical giant emerges from the woods. It doesn't move well, It clatters and jerks and clinks as it attempts to get into an attack position. This is easily the largest mech we've ever seen. Spot welds and poorly connected cables somehow hold what looks like several smaller mechs together as a single entity. A panel on the ground behind this battlebot seems to be connected to both the mech itself and a nearby cast iron door, sporting a massive lock. But it's of no matter if we can't take this thing out first. The behemoth looks like it could fall apart at a moment's notice. But for now, it's intact and headed straight for us. So there's no options for this. If we're successful, we get a training point, 2 loot, and a victory point. And the battle queue says, battle queue half baddie points rounded up. We add Amalgamech onto the lane 1 baddie range position on the battle mat. So the Amalgamech is, we randomly stack a number of mech units equal to our party size, so 2, and we add HP equal to only the topmost unit. So once the top unit dies, you basically flip it down to the next unit on the stack and put its HP back equal to the new unit below it. So basically, it's almost as if we had multiple mechs spawning throughout the game, but they spawn in the same spot. So kind of interesting. And obviously, we have no choice but to do this. So we have this guy. So he starts with 3 HP. He is the lane 1, which is blue. 3 HP blue. He has the initiative of 2. And I don't believe his initiative changes. Let's see what it says. Yeah, so he keeps this initiative for the whole fight, so that's quite good. And says, does he start in the range spot? Lane 1 range, yes. So he starts here. And then we have half of our baddie point total. So 5, exactly 5. So we also have, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. How do we get, this is why fucking scouting is so important, because we would avoid this bullshit. So this is a Dragon Breacher. I'll breach you, you fucking. So he has Compound, which is lame, but he does have Careless too. So if he rolls a bone, he takes 2 damage. And he has 6 HP and he throws up 1 shield. Actually, I take it back. This isn't so bad. This is actually not bad at all. He is ranged, however, and he attacks the whole board. So there is that. He starts at 5 on the initiative meter, so he's probably going to get to ping all of us at least once before we can even attack him at all. And he starts over here. So as for our merry bunch of losers, we are going to start at 3 each. So not great, but at least we start before this weirdo. So we will start Picket and then Patches like we did on the previous fight. So we will put Picket. He's going to attack all of us no matter what we do. So I say he's going to bleed us. So we will go Nya and Nya. And we'll do our level best to viciously murder this nerd. So round 1, purple guy goes first. He's going to attack everyone for 1 and put up a shield. He died. That's like one of the best. So we could have got better. Also, thing to note, units with a bone do not roll the bone effect more than once. They'll only roll it once. It's like a backup plan. They only activate it a single time per turn. So he does take 2 damage to start. See, I take it back. This unit sucks dick. He's terrible. And he didn't even hit us. So, cool. Best possible outcome. So Picket would, if he took damage, he'd regenerate, but he didn't. So we're going to move up 1 space. We have 3 decks left. So we're going to roll Sword Advance and 2 attacks. Oh, also, I fucking forgot to roll his shields. So we'll do that right now as well. I got to remember these things. So I don't keep the bone, but I do get a single shield. He did 3 damage and the bone for this, which is not great. So we're going to do 3 damage, which is actually 2 damage because he had a shield. 1, 2. He's got 2 HP left. Not bad. Over to Patches. Patches would regenerate if he didn't take it. If he took him damage, but he didn't. So we're going to move up 2. We have 2 decks left. So we're going to attack this guy for 2 attacks. And hopefully finish him off before next round. Wow, double bone. That's pretty amazingly bad. You're a fucking legend, Patches. You worthless sack of shit. So blue guy is going to move one space. And he's equipment. Fuck, I fucked up. Okay, let me hold up. So equipment is at the beginning of the round or the fight. You roll a dice. So for 5 and 6, he gets +2 on the initiative meter, which actually means he would have gone before us. So that's a thing. If you roll 1 and 2, he gets +2 HP, and if you roll 3 and 4, he gets +1 attack. So he would actually be here because Picket was here, and he would have attacked me for 1, and he has 2 defense to start. So we'll just roll the attack as if he had attacked us before. And he bleeds us. Okay, so he took off a shield and he did 1 damage, and I have a bleed die on me now, which is this one. So at the start of my turn, I would have healed for 1 and taken 1 bleed damage, so our HP is otherwise untouched. There we go. Sorry for the misplay there. So this starts at 4 on the initiative track. Now we're on to round 2. Purple guy does in fact get to attack all of us 2 times, and he's also going to throw up a shield again. So we got, oh my god, I am rolling so well. So unfortunately, even though he rolled a bone and killed himself, he still does do his damage to us. That is a thing. So the damage calculation is simultaneous. So he is toasted, but we do take 1 damage each. So 1 damage to me, and 1 damage to Picket. Blue boy is going to walk 1 pace. Oh, actually, no, I like him better here. Yes. He can't regenerate more than he does, and he's going to attack me again for 1. We'll see how Picket fares from this. He's getting pretty fucked up. 1 damage. Not bad. Not bad. We're doing okay. So he'll take 1 from the bleed and heal 1, so his HP doesn't change. So we're going to roll both of his infinite dice. And we're going to roll 2 shields. Because he won't be attacking me next turn because Picket and Patches will be next to him with more HP. So we'll actually roll 2 attacks with him instead. So first off, that gets locked in. So that means every time we attack, we do +1 damage, period. Even if we get no good results. We got a bone, another bone, which we're going to put away. And we're going to do 2 damage to him, which removes both his shields. Not bad. So Patches goes next. We're going to go 1, 2. We still have 2 decks, so we're going to roll. So robots can't be poisoned, so there's no point rolling my poison dice on him. And I think I will attack him while his shields are down. So I'm going to roll my buff HP, skill, and an attack. So not the best of results. So we got another bone and 2 buff HP. I mean, buff HP is buff HP. Won't hurt. And you know what? I do believe I will use my needle jab backup plan. Is that smart? Actually, I don't think that's smart. We will instead keep the bones. There's a possibility I could upgrade Patches to his innate, which is actually quite useful. Instead of only healing himself for 1 at the beginning of the round, firstly, he gets +1 max HP, flat out, immediately. That's great. Secondly, he can heal anyone with his 1/8 heal per turn. So super useful. So we'll try and get that. So up to round 3, blue boy is attacking the strongest unit, so he's going to attack me, and he doesn't have the regeneration. He doesn't have self-repair, so he doesn't get those shields back. He just stays with his current defense. So he will attack Patches for no. He will do no damage. I do believe he still puts a bleed on me, though. I don't believe, much like with poison and the other effects, I don't believe he actually has to do damage to put the effect on. So we're going to operate under that assumption that is how that works. Just like that. So over to him. So he takes 1 from the bleed and heals for 1. We're going to roll shield form again. We're going to roll 3 attacks. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yes! Yes! Yes, let's fucking go. Okay, so now I have all of his locked skills in place. So every turn, I get to take 1 less damage, do 1 more damage, and heal for 1. And I also did 5 damage. So Picket is going... Actually, sorry, I did 6 damage. So this guy is super dead. But, as you are aware, the fight is not over. And the bottommost unit is actually substantially nastier than the previous one. So this guy has self-repair 1. He starts with a shield. He has 4 HP, and he has assault. So that's pretty fucking terrible. So over to Patches. Again, much like with Picket, he heals. He takes 1 damage from the bleed and heals for 1. So no change to his current HP. And he does attack the weaker of the 2 units. So he'll be attacking Picket next turn, unfortunately. So we're going to do our level best to viciously murder this nerd. So we're going to do, let me just see if I can put these buff HP on anyone. Add buff HP to a Gearlock's prep area. Ah, very good. So we're going to throw my other buff HP onto Picket, and we're going to attack him for 3 attack, since he won't be attacking us regardless. Not great. So I got another bone, which is nice. And I did 3 damage, which is even nicer. So he takes 2. 1, 2. But I did get a bone on my thing. And I am, in fact, actually going to keep the bone because I only need 1 more to get upgraded. So we may just get that upgrade. So round 4, start of the round, he's going to attack Picket 4 times because he's the weakest unit here. And if you would please put up your prayers for Picket because he's probably going to die here. And oh my god, he died so hard. Hoo boy. That is one of the most brutal deaths I've seen in a while. He self-repairs for 1. He took 6 damage. He's 3 overkill. Sleep well, good prince. Technically, actually only took 5 because the reduced, but doesn't matter. He is toasted. So over to Patches. Patches is going to take 1 damage and heal for 1. And then I'm going to attack him with 3 attacks and a shield. And if we're lucky, I will kill him and get my final bone. Could you have been a more perfect roll? I don't think so. So we got our 6th bone. So Patches is upgraded. And this guy takes 4 damage and dies. And the encounter is complete. Because we are straight fucking G's. Let's go. We didn't even get to the fatigue round. So we get 2 loot each, which is astonishing. 2 loot apiece. So we got bananas, which you can use to heal yourself for HP equal to the current round, and if it's the fatigue round, that also counts as a 5. Or the hunting net, remove a 1-point or 5-point baddie from the current battle and place on this card. This baddie must be defeated prior to the tyrant battle. To defeat, place the baddie at the bottom of the battle queue during setup of any future battle. So honestly, pretty worthless. Like, I mean, you're just making a later fight harder. And then the programmable defibrillator. During battle, use on another KO'd Gearlock to revive them with 3 HP. Or if you were KO'd, revive with 2 HP. Permanently reduce revived Gearlock health stat by 1. Also, almost forgot, Patches gets 1 health permanently for leveling himself up with his unique. Or Loose Wires, increase your dex by 1 for an entire battle. So the +1 dex is pretty cool. The programmable defibrillator is, of course, even cooler, although the reduced HP is pretty lame. So I think what we'll do is we'll give the defib to Patches because he can pick other people up with his liquid life. And we will put the... What do we want to do? So the loose wires would be useful. I think, you know what? We're going to get rid of the mechanical squid. As cool as it is, it's not that cool. We're going to get rid of the hunting net. We're going to get rid of the bananas, and we're going to keep the loose wires on Picket because the extra dex on him is actually quite useful. And we'll discard the rest. All right. And we also got a victory point, which puts us up to 6. Pretty good. We only need one more to fight the boss. So that's pretty good. We do, however, want to see if we can get to the blue encounters for Vol'Kesh because I've looked at these before. She has a few where if you beat her blue encounters, you get to be immune to several of her tyrant abilities. And her tyrant abilities are really nasty. So for the training points, let's see. So what are we going to do? Obviously, going down Patches blue line would be to my benefit and is what I am currently moving towards. And I think I will do that. So his next one is called Chain Reactor. That's the 15 dice. So Chain Reactor lets me either put a active recover on a unit, so basically the same as my current regen these units have, or a regenerating buff HP for 1 or 2 HP. So quite useful. Stacking regen on any of these characters is obviously quite strong. And then for Picket, do I need any of his other skills? Not really. I mean, they're not that useful. I mean, I guess Bravado, if I'm not mistaken, has one of his roles where you can get a free training for his defense on 2 sides, but you have to start with confidence, which is like a super defense dice. I'm not sure that this is going to last long enough for that to be relevant, so we're going to try and train his attack instead. And if we don't succeed at that, then maybe we'll go for his defense instead. We were successful. So 4 attacks and 4 defense, or sorry, 4 dexterity rather. So not bad. So that's the loot. That's did the victory point, got the training point. The day is up to 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, up to day 6. And then we did heal both of our units to full. And we healed Picket to full because Patches didn't really take any damage. No, I think we healed them both. Yes. So no scouting, and we have no trove loot to unlock. So on to the next encounter. Let's give it a whirl. What a night. A bad knot around a slippery rock was all it took for our raft to hightail it down the Sibrin, never to be seen again. Providentially, a new raft is soon spotted floating down from the north with 2 corpses lying on it, peppered with arrows. It seems a couple of fisher goblins ran into some trouble. With our new vessel secured, we're on our way, but which way? To our left, the water looks calm, except for the inconvenience of an unavoidable whirlpool. But to the right, a group of conspicuous figures lurk much too close to the river's edge. So, we can brave the whirlpool. Let's brave the whirlpool. The swirls grow larger and larger, forcing the raft toward shore. From whirlpool ripples begin to make a V toward the raft. So the baddie points are the normal day, but we also add a single fish. If we choose to avoid the whirlpool, the baddie points are unchanged, but we also may roll and apply the defense dice before battle. So, I mean, Picket already gets to do that, so that's not worthwhile. And Patches doesn't really need it. And if we take the top option, which is just adding a single fish to the fight, then we simply get an extra training point. And we're going to take that for sure. No reason not to. I mean, an extra fish is nothing. So the current total is 14. So that's 2 level 5s and 4 level 4s. 3, 4, 1, 2, plus a fish. In that order. So first off, we have an ape imposter with 5 HP. He's going to start at the 3rd initiative. He has 2 damage and 1 shield. He is if he rolls a bone, he becomes untargetable, which means you can't hit him with attacks, but you can still use abilities. Or rather, any abilities that don't target specifically. It depends on the description of the ability. And he is a ranged unit, bizarrely. Unfortunately, he also has 1 mind. So if we're unlucky and get a bunch of beasts, which we did, then he's going to be a huge fucking problem. So he needs to die. He's our priority on this fight. This loser has Blind Strike. He is starting at 4 on the initiative track. He's the guy that does Blind Strike and Trap. So that's irritating. He's in the melee position. We have a level 1 baddie who is the Kobold Collector, and he has equipment. So as noted before, I'm going to roll a d6, and the result will inform us what benefit he gets for this battle. So we got a 1, so that means he gets 2 additional HP. Like so, and he is also melee, so he goes in the yellow. Finally, we have a kobold, plated kobold. So he has 1 HP, sorry, 3 HP. He's got hardy. He puts up a single shield every turn, or we'll try anyway. He starts at 2, fortunately, on the initiative meter, and he only attacks once, so not a huge threat. And he will get blind striked by this guy on the first round. So we also have a choice to make here, because the first unit to enter the track is going to get pegged by that guy with a debuff. So we're going to, first and foremost, we're going to put Picket on first, but first I'm going to roll his defense dice. So I got 2 shields and a bone. He doesn't get to keep the bone. And then we're going to put him... Actually, well, let's first see where we end up on the initiative track. That's also very relevant for our planning. Wow, 3 and 2 respectively. Pretty good roll, William. You are a fucking legend. So the purple guy's gonna go first, and then Patches, and then all these guys are gonna go, and then Picket. So I think what we'll do is we will put Picket right here, so he will move down to attack him. Actually, he's going to attack Patches, because Patches has more HP. Is there any way to get around that? Not really, because I want to be Patches to be here. I guess I could, because if he blind now, because I need him to be here so he doesn't blind strike me. So yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So Trap is the first unit to enter the battlefield. I'm going to roll a 6. You got a 6. Let me look up what that does. I should have had this available. My apologies. Let's see. There we go. So Trap says And it's only on land encounters. Gear luck of price choice rolls a d6 when entering the battle map. Gas trap is 1 to 2. Roll the poison effect die, and you take whatever result is applied to your unit. 3 and 4 is electrical trap. Cannot use your skills during the first round. Or barbed trap. Move down 2 spots on the initiative meter. And since he can't move lower, he just starts behind the hardy unit, so he'll get attacked once before that. So that's not a huge deal. So blind strike 1, he takes 1 damage. All is planned. Then he'll move 1 space forward, and he will, unfortunately, attack me 3 times and put up a shield. A decidedly irritating outcome. So he hit me for 3 and put up a shield. 1, 2, 3. Over to me. I heal for 1. Obviously, since I get to pick and I want to heal the only person who took damage. So this guy needs to die immediately. So we're going to move 1 space forward. That leaves us with 3 dexterity. So I'm going to poison him. I am, in fact, going to throw my buff HP on me because I want the survivability. And I will attack him for 1. Or attack him rather with 1 damage. So that is just about the worst possible outcome I could have rolled. Amazing. So I got the skull on my buff HP, so that means instead I take 1 damage instead of getting any benefit. I got the double bone for the poison, which does nothing for me. So we're going to put that back, but I did do the single damage. So I think I'm going to put up all 3 of my defense dice with my plated skull, because I need to get rid of some of these equipment slots anyway, frankly. So you might as well, if you got it, use it. You know what I'm saying? So blue guy is going to attack me 2. He's going to put up a shield. If he gets to bone, he will become untargetable. So that is 2 damage and a single shield. So 1 mine does not trigger. Thank God. Yellow guy is going to attack me once and put up a shield. He did 2 damage and put up a shield. Gotta be fucking kidding me. Take 1 because it reduces my other shield. Green guy is going to attack me once and put up a shield. 1 damage and a single shield. Okay. I actually take no damage because I reduce all damage by 1 as Picket. And then it's finally Picket's turn. So he's taken no damage so far, so he doesn't regenerate anything. And we are going to do our level best to kill this guy. So we're going to hit him with as many attack dice as we can, which is 4. So we automatically do 1 damage to him, so his shield is gone. And we're going to hit him with as many dice as we can roll. So we did 3 damage, and we got a bone. So not a perfect outcome, but it's better than nothing. 1, 2, 3. Worse outcomes have occurred in the past. So then we wrap around to the next round. So purple guy is going to again put up a shield and hit me 3 times. Well, actually, first he's going to blind strike me for 1, reducing my shield by 1. And he's going to do 1 damage and put up a shield. So I take no damage. Actually, yeah, I take absolutely no damage. And actually, I don't think the blind strike does any damage to me either. Let me double check what his constant defense says. So, reduce total damage done to you by number. Treat as a defense that only gets exhausted for shield bash. So actually, the blind strike doesn't do any damage to me either. So, I take no damage at all. Haha, eat shit, you fucking nerd. So he does nothing to me at all. Completely nothing. Cool. So over to Patches, who's going to put a shield, 1 more heal on himself from his regen. And he is having a bad time of it. So I have 4 decks to use, so I think we're going to try again to put a poison on this guy. We're going to again try and put the regen buff HP on me, and we're going to attack the guy in front of us twice. Is that smart? You know what? That doesn't actually sound that smart. Let's not do that. Let's instead forego the. Well, you know, we kind of need him to die. We need him to die. We're gonna do that. You gotta be fucking okay. We're gonna take fuck it. We're gonna take all the bones, and we did 3 damage. 1, 2, and I have 3 bones, so I'm gonna remove them to needle jab and kill this guy. Because I don't want him making him attack again. So that means this guy is coming in. It's another one of these kobolds with equipment. So not a terrible threat, but still somewhat annoying. So he is the blue. So we're going to roll his equipment now, just to get that out of the way. He got a 6, so that means he'll actually start at 3 on the initiative. I think that's how that works, because they start at 1 every time they're coming in. And I think that his equipment would in fact influence that if it could, which it should. So we're going to say that that's how that works. And if that's wrong, then fuck me, I guess. So we're going to have him move. He gets to attack me once. Does 1 damage. Rude boys, the lot of them. I hate them all. They're haters. These kobolds are haters. Green guy is going to attack me for 1. He gets a 2, so he actually does do 1 damage to me because I reduce all damage by 1. And then it's my turn. So if I had a damage, I would regenerate, but I don't. So we're going to attack this guy again. So we're going to do 4 attacks against him for the second time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, automatically do 1 damage to him. And we do, oh boy, that is 5 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is overkill. He dead. See ya, never, loser. But that does mean our next level 1's coming in. So we have the Goblin Devastator. So this loser has a unique ability. So he has Careless for 1, and he has something called Detonate 2. So if he has any damage on him at the start of his turn and he moves, he immediately kills himself on the first move and explodes, dealing 2 true damage to everything near him in an AoE. So pretty nasty. So if you murder him in a single turn, he does not explode. Only if he gets to move does he do that. So on to round 3. And these guys come in. So blue guy is coming in right next to Patches, unfortunately. Purple guy is in the melee slot, so he's also next to Patches. Jesus. I'm in danger. So he's going to heal for 1. So what we're going to do is we've got 4 decks. So we're going to attack the goblin guy for 3 and throw up a shield. Yes, I think that's our best move defensive-wise. So I don't think there's anything else we can really do defensively. And I could run away. I suppose I could go like 1, 2, 3, 4 and hide behind Picket. That actually, honestly, might be the superior tactical option if I was a bitch. Honestly, I have how much HP? 3 HP. So if they both roll 2s, I die. And if I don't kill him, I will also probably die. And I kind of don't want to die. So you know what? I think I will actually go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Yes. So 3 movement. I have 1 dex left, and I will still roll. I'll roll my chain reactor dice instead. So I got the regenerating. So now every turn I will heal for 2 instead. I'll regenerate 2. So that's pretty great. So over to yellow boy, who's going to move 1, 2 and get in the other guy's way. Blue guy's going to go 1, 2. Green guy is going to attack me for 1. I do no damage, probably. He gets a 2, so he actually does break my shield. It's my turn again. I have no damage, so I'm going to go move 1 space forward. I still have 3 dexterity, and I'm going to attack the goblin, the exploding one, with 3 attack dice. And I do 3 damage, plus 1 from my bonus is 4. So that's a total of 4 damage. He is dead. That unfortunately does mean that the fish boy is coming in next turn. So we have a crown undertoad. Is that what he says? Yeah, crown undertoad. He is 5 HP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's coming in with 5 HP. 2, obviously he's 1 on the initiative. And much like the mechs, crown also, instead of coming on a conventional spot, roll the d6 to find out where they show up. So he's going to start at the 1 spot, which is right over here. Unfortunately, that means that he, next turn, will be attacking here, either side. And if I can't hit him, he will start building up like flotsam and jetsam on our raft, which is not good. So actually, that was Picket's turn. So round 4, he's coming in. He's coming in hot. So Patches is going to heal for 2. What was my best option here? He can only damage the raft once per turn. So that gives me 5 turns to kill him. So I think what I'll do is I'll move Patches 1, 2. So I've got 2 decks. We're going to attack the hardy guy with 2 attack dice. We did 3 damage. So we remove his shield and we do 1 damage because he is hardy. He's a little bitch. Over to yellow guy. Yellow guy is going to attack me for 1, or for Picket for 1 rather. 2 damage. So I do take 1 damage, actually. First damage Picket's taken all game. Wow. Well, this round anyway. Blue is going to go 1, 2. He's going to put up a shield and attack me for 1. He got 1 damage and 1 shield, so I take no damage, but he does get a shield. Green is going to attack me and put up a shield, or attack Patches. He got 1 damage. I'll heal that off next turn anyway, so of no consequence. Picket has the world as his oyster, so I'm going to attack this guy for 3 damage. Yeah, we'll attack that guy with 3 attacks and put up a shield, a single shield. So that was a mistake. I should have rolled more attack dice. So I do 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. He still has 1 HP. That was a mistake. I fucked up. I should have just committed to the death with more attacks. I don't want to shield bash, and my backup extensions are not going to help me. Actually, believe it or not, my backup extension in this case would be helpful. So my 3-bone backup extension is the Aqua Cannon, so I can move any baddie up to 2 positions on the battle mat. During a water battle, if I force a 1-point baddie off the raft, they die immediately. So 1, 2, he dies. That's using your noodle. Get absolutely roasted, you fucking nerd. That is all my bones, unfortunately. But he was successful in killing a unit this turn. So Picket is he's really holding his own. Also, obviously, he regenerates 1 because of his locked thing. So nothing next to him. Krell moves over here. And there's no gear lock, so he's going to attack this position right there. So he attacks for 1, and he puts up a shield, and he has poison 2 as well. So he got a bone and an attack damage, so he does put a single debris on the raft, like so. So remember, if we get 5 of these, we lose this encounter, but I'm not worried about that. They'll have to try pretty hard to accomplish that. More importantly, we are approaching the fatigue round. So I heal for 2. It's back to full. Ain't that great? That's am I up to 7, 3, 5, 6. Never mind. I still have 1 less HP that I don't have. I was missing. I apparently was missing an HP at the start of this combat. We're gonna put that back on him. And we are obviously going to attack the Hardy Boy in front of us. So I've got 4 decks. So I'm going to attack twice, put up a shield, and roll my other buff HP. So we got the maximum 5 buff HP. Hell yeah. Now we're talking. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we are in fact cooking with gas. I did 2 damage and I put up a shield. So the damage is good. He is dead. That's 1 less kobold to worry with. All right, Blue Boy is going to attack him with 1 attack and throw up a shield. He does no damage and puts up a shield. Next is Picket. Picket would regenerate if he took damage, but he didn't. So we're going to attack the thing in front of us and throw up 2 shields. So I need to do at least 1 damage. So I'm going to roll 2 attacks and roll 2 shields. I did 2 damage, I got 2 bones, and I've got a shield. Not bad. Not bad at all. So he is super dead because I did automatically do 1 damage anyway. Roasted and toasted. Purple guy, there is no one next to him, so he will move to the 3rd position, and he will attack the position of my choice, so we'll say he attacks here. So he's going to attack once and put up a shield, or try to anyway. He did do 1 damage, but he got no shield. So again, we will put a debris onto our raft. And then finally, we begin the fatigue round. Dun, dun, dun. So first things first, he takes a damage. I have patches. So both of us are going to take a fatigue and then heal it immediately anyway at the start of our turn. So I'm not going to bother taking it off of them. Patches is going to stay right where he is, because by the time he moves, it'll be over with. So he'll just roll. We'll roll. We're going to take off his defense and roll 2, because I could potentially get some bones for a fortune discovery, theoretically. Which I did. I got a bone. Not enough, but we also got 2 more shield. And I still have the 2 dexterity, so I think I'll just move right there. Picket, on the other hand. Actually, no, sorry. Yeah, that's blue. Blue's dead. Get out of here. Picket is going to go 1, 2. He has 2 dexterity left, and he will attack twice. He dealt 3 damage total with his plus damage. 1, 2, 3. The crown obviously has him in range, so he will attack him. He will automatically put 2 poison onto him, regardless of whether he does any damage at all, which is a little irritating, but not the end of the world. He did 2 damage and put up a shield, so I will take only the 1, which my shield eats, and he does get a single shield. Start of the round, takes 1 damage. He also takes 1 damage, but he's going to heal it back with his regeneration. So Patches is going to go. He's going to remove his 2 shields and roll them, although at this point it doesn't matter because I can't get enough shields for a fortunate discovery, which is a pity because he got 2 bones. And we'll just roll a move 2 in his direction because fuck it, why not? My start my turn, I take 1 damage from the fatigue, I heal it back. I take 2 damage from the poison. I actually do have damage on my character. Who could have seen this coming? So I'm actually going to use up his bones for his backup extension to heal himself all the way to full, so I don't have to heal him later. The poison ticks down, and he will attack with all of his attacks, which is 4 on the crown. This crown is almost certainly going to die, and he definitely does. He takes 5 damage, so he is deader than dead. And we are successful. Another easy encounter. Well, I say easy as if Patches wasn't about to eat shit there, but that's That's okay. That didn't happen. That was irrelevant. Don't worry about it. Flip this to round 1. Take you off. So my units took no damage at all. Well, rather, we ended with no damage. So I will actually be able to simply scout for the next end phase. So since we took the harder option, we do in fact get 2 training points. We also get a loot apiece. So we got the Dragon Scales and the Handled Blade. So Dragon Scales says, while this loot remains in your loot area, rolled defense dice may be placed in your locked slots instead. Additionally, if you defeated a dragon this battle, you may trade this in for an unlocked Dragon Center Scale Trove loot if available. So if I'm not mistaken, we didn't beat a dragon in this encounter. No, we had an ape imposter and a primate trapsmith, but no dragons, unfortunately. And same for the level 1s. Because kobolds are not dragons, although they are in the same sort of species, so to speak. But we're going to give that to Patches because he actually has room in his locked slots for those. The Handled Blade, on the other hand, says, anytime during your attack, you may roll 2 attack dice apart from other dice. This does not cost dex and deal damage to any adjacent unit. Rolling a bone breaks the blade, which cancels the attacks rolled, and it must be discarded immediately. I can use it once per turn, but it only has 2 uses anyway, so kind of useful, but not super useful. So I think we'll actually throw this away. I don't think that's better than what I currently have on any of my slots. And we also get a victory point, which pumps us up to 7, which means we can fight Vol'Kesh if we so desire. And we also can get 2 training points. So I think probably what we're going to do is we're going to take the next encounter and try and see if we can get one of Vol'Kesh's instead. And we'll take the 2 training points in the meantime. So for Patches, I'm going to say, honestly, well, Stim Lethal, obviously, we're going to get that because that's what we've been trying to get the whole time. So Stim Lethal has several of these in like sort of Trinity Force symbols on buff HP. If you get that roll, you get immediately that much HP permanently. So up to 2, but 1 on most of them. Alternatively, you can also roll 1 or even 2 true damage instead. But it's worth it for the free HP increase, I think. And then for my other plus, let me see. Nutrients isn't that useful. And I don't really need healing for any specific unit because they're pretty self-sufficient with their regeneration. An extra attack wouldn't be worthless, but an extra HP wouldn't be amiss either. I think for Picket, I will in fact increase his HP by 1. But we're not going to get enough time to roll Bravado anyway, so I don't think we'll try for that. Let me actually check. 15 is Bravado. Do you have to take the bone results? You do. Yeah, they're mandatory. So you have to. You only have two opportunities to roll that. So we're not gonna. It's not worth the attempt. So we'll get an extra dexterity also, because that way he can always roll defense and all of his attacks. Then for Patches, for his other upgrade, I mean the extra HP would be pretty nice. I do like the HP, but I kind of prefer if Picket was the one who was being hit in most scenarios. What does Chem Kit do? Chem Kit is 13. No, it's 10. What does it do? Buff attack, add to the active slots, and it gives you plus attack for the whole combat. What else can you roll on this? The damage or buff attacks? I mean, it lets me roll more attacks, but I'm mostly capped out on dexterity anyway, so that doesn't actually strike me as being that useful. At least not yet. And I can already roll all my defense and attacks as is. So I think what we'll do is we'll try to roll attack on Patches. 3 attack. Success. And then we got the loot, we got the victory point. We need to move the day cycle up to 8. We didn't need to heal, so we can both scout. So we'll scout. So 1 and a 2. Nicely done. I'm a fucking legend. So we have 2 of the same unit. So he becomes untargetable. He's ranged. He starts at 4, but he only has 3 HP. So actually, we'll keep him on top because both of these guys are not that big of a deal. All right. So day 8, moving on to the next encounter. So we actually did get the Vol'Kesh encounter like I wanted to. So that's pretty handy. So this one says, through the fire and flames. Scanning the devastation, it appears Vol'Kesh is asserting her dominance in a territorial dispute, attacking anything that moves. Her silhouette is all that is visible, perched on a peak above the battlefield. Her fire blasts shine in every color imaginable. Everything is aflame. A human skeleton lies frozen in time underfoot. The brave knight looked to be in the process of putting on some undamaged armor. The armor is a bit oversized for small creatures, but it should prevent immolation. There's barely time for a nod of respect toward the poor charred pile of bones before the enemy, already aflame, marches forward. So, forged in flame, there's no option here. If we are successful, we'll get a victory point, 2 training points, and a loot. So the baddie points are equal to normal battle baddie points, but we also add 2 points points equal to the party size. So it's going to be 16 plus 2 is 18. All units in this battle have the skill Engulf. So all damage rolled also hits all adjacent units to target, including self if applicable. Choose a gear lock to wear the armor. This gear lock is immune to damage from Engulf skill. If gear lock wearing the armor is not defeated, treat this card as loot. Dragon skin armor. This unit is immune to Vol'Kesh's Tyrant die Ring of Fire effects. It's heavy and it's permanent. So that's amazing, and we definitely want that. So the question is who we put it on. I would say, logically, since Picket is the tankiest unit and therefore the most likely to actually not die this combat, we pick him. So he's immune to being engulfed. So like I said, the battle points for this are 18. So that's going to be 3 level 5s for 15 and then 3 level 1s. So the scouting would have been completely worthless in this case anyway. So it goes. So first off, oh, fuck off with this bullshit. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be a problem. So he has 1 mind and dodge. He attacks twice and puts up a single shield. And he starts at 6. So he's going to attack us before we do anything, no matter what we do. So that's fucking annoying. He is a melee unit, however, even though he's holding what appears to be a bazooka. So not really sure what logic that has, but better for us that he's not ranged, so I'll take it, I guess. We have a dragon juvenile. 2, 3, 4, 5. This one attacks 3 times, has 2 shields, bleeds, and careless. And that does exactly what you would think it does. So it just puts a bleed on you. That's been on a couple of the other units before, so you should be familiar with it by now. He, however, unfortunately is a ranged unit. So we're going to have to use the Engulf to our benefit, because if we're standing next to them, they will hurt themselves. 4, 5, 6, 7. And we have a dragon. So that's 2 dragons in this fight. So if we are successful, we can trade in our dragon scale loot for the better loot instead. So that's actually going to be pretty nice. So the dragon grounder, we fought this one earlier. He was a massive pain. He starts at 5 on the initiative track. He is a melee unit also, bizarrely. He's weakened 2, he attacks 3 times, and he puts up 2 defense. And then finally, we have the ape, who's going to be 3 HP. He is a ranged unit. He starts at 4 on the initiative track. And he has 1 attack, 1 defense, and he is untargetable. And he also, again, has engulf, because all of them do. So first things first, this guy's going to move towards us, go 1, 2, and attack us. So actually, what we want to be is next to this guy, because he is dodge. So we want to be, ideally, something like him be here. So maybe put Patches, or sorry, Picket here, Patches here. Actually, now that I think about it, I want Picket to be hit. So I don't want him to be immune to engulf, because I want stuff that's attacking him to hit other people. So we'll make Patches immune instead. So we're going to put Picket here or here. I think here is the smart move. So if he's here, moves down 1, attacks me, hits himself. He'll move over 2, attack me, hit himself. Alternatively, if I stand here, he'll move down, hit me. That's the better move right here. Yeah, right there. And then if these guys attack him because they're going to attack strongest and he'll attack weakest, he'll be hit. So they'll both get hit as well. And we'll put Patches away from him. Actually, it doesn't matter where I put him because he can't be hit by these losers regardless. So we're going to put him right here. Then maybe move up to attack him. Maybe him up to attack him. No. I can't attack him no matter what because he's got dodge. So we'll move to attack the dragon juvenile. Yeah, that's the move, I think, right there. Okay. But first, well, actually, we'll decide based on what our initiatives are. So we got 2 and 3 respectively. So actually, it literally doesn't matter at all because they're all going to get to go before we do anyway. Yeah, so we'll do it like that. All right, so first things first, Picket's going to roll his defense, as he usually does. So we got 2 shields, not bad. First things first, blue guy attacks me for 2. The shingle shield. So we got 2 bones and a single attack. So I take no damage because I have the defense. And he has engulf, but I take no damage because I am immune, but he is not immune to his own engulf, so he takes 1 damage. Meanwhile, he does have 1 mind, so this guy is going to also attack immediately and attack me. We're both equal, so we'll say he attacks Picket still. He does a bone, so he's untargetable. So that's actually kind of irritating, but not that big of a deal. Yellow guy moves down 1, attacks me 3 times, and puts up 2 bones. Or sorry, 2 shields, rather. And any damage he does to me also splashes over to the monkey. He does 4 damage and puts up 2 shields. So this guy dies. Lol. Get fucking wrecked, idiot. That does mean the other monkey is going to be coming in next round. Or at the end of this round, rather. But that's way less impactful. That's totally fine. And then I take 1 less for 3 damage. I lose 2 shields, and I still take a single point of damage. Not too shabby. So I'm actually weaker than Patches now, so he's actually going to attack me instead. And because I am, again, immune to engulf, I don't believe the engulf will affect Picket either, because I'm essentially canceling the engulf. No, actually, that's not how that works. My mistake. So I'm immune to other people hitting me with engulf damage, but it doesn't prevent the engulf skill from popping off. So I take 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should have thought this through. I should have put Patches over here. That would have been superior. Then he also takes 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that was a blunder. Definitely a misplay on my part, but live and let live, as they say. Also, is that, yeah, that's the purple guy. Green guy goes. He's the start of his next turn, he becomes untargetable. So he loses the untargetable. He's going to attack me again. So he attacks the weaker of the two, so I'll have him attack Picket because he can actually nullify the damage potentially. So he does do 1 damage, which I remove, but he puts up 2 shields. So finally, Patches is going to heal for 1. And we'll just do this in beforehand. Picket is also going to heal for 1. So Patches, what is Patches going to do? Patches is going to go Nya. That's 1 dex. I still have 3 dex to go. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to attack twice. Also, bleed is on him, so he does take a damage because of that. How irritating. So I'm going to throw a stim lethal on himself. Throw 2 attacks. That would be my 3 dex if I do that. It might be a mistake. Actually, no, take it back. I'm gonna throw the we're gonna throw the stim belt, we're gonna throw the buff HP, we're gonna throw the chain reactor, and we're gonna throw up a shield. Because we need to put up some defensive capabilities to survive these nerds. So we actually got we did get the regeneration, but we again somehow managed to throw the worst possible result for that stim belt. So we do get the regeneration and a shield, but we do take 1 damage. So we may have actually killed ourselves. So you know what? If I take... Oh, you know what? If I didn't take the... No, because there's no... Because I have to take the kill at the start. Yeah, there's no way to finagle that. So you know what we will do? How's a good way to do this? I think I will use up the huckleberries to heal myself for 3 HP. I do believe that is what I shall do, yes. 1, 2, 3. That way I am less likely to get fucking blown out next turn. So Picket, actually I think the engulf means he's also bleeding. That was a huge misplay. So I actually do take the damage back off. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw, and we're also weakened for 2. Yeah, because of this stupid dragon. My god. Okay, well, we can only attack, so we're going to attack twice, and we can throw up 2 shields. So that's what we're going to do. So we are losing a single dex because we've got nothing else to throw. But worse things have happened. So we get 2 shields. We get a bone. And we do 2 damage. So we remove his shields. Good job, me. Not ideal. We do 2 damage. 2. So round starts. This guy's coming in from the blue range spot. Round 2. Yellow guy goes first. Again, just going to attack ya boy 3 times and put up 2 shields. Does 1 damage to me, which removes a shield. That will reset the weaken, and he gets 2 shields again. Next up, purple guy is going to attack the strongest unit, which is actually still Patches, but even if he couldn't, since I'm directly next to him, he has to attack me anyway. So he's going to again attack me 3 times and put up 2 shields. And he does have Careless. He says Careless 1 with no bone. Does he take damage every time he attacks? I think he does. Yeah. That's weird. I never noticed that. So he'll take damage automatically and attack me. And since I'm directly next to him, he is in fact going to kill himself. So he did 5 damage to me. So that's 4 damage reduced by my shield. 1, 2, 3, 4. Jesus. And he kills himself. Why would you do that, Dragon? You had so much to live for. And finally, a Goblin Broadcaster is coming in. So this is actually one of the best possible units you can have to come in the baddie queue, because his normal initiative is 6 and he has signal 2. But since he's coming in after a death, he starts at 1. So I have plenty of time to kill him before he gets to signal anything. So green's going to go. Green is in fact attacking the weakest unit, which is unfortunately still Patches. So if I get supremely unlucky here, I will die. But if we're lucky, we will live. Ooh, okay. We got lucky as shit. Bone. So he is in fact untargetable. So it's not all good, but that's better than death, so we will take it. The fuck is the untargetable die? I just had the thing. Stand by for targetable. Patches. So I get to do his regen first, so he'll heal for 2. We'll take 1 from the bleed. So I can't hit this guy anyway. So what we're going to do is the purple guy is going to come in. So we're going to go 1 space here. And we're going to attack this guy. So we have 3 decks left. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack him. I'm going to throw our stem belt on. That's 1. We're going to attack him for 1. And we're going to throw up a shield. That's what we're going to do. I'm not getting very lucky with these rolls. I get a shield. I do 2 damage. So he's almost dead. 1, 2. And we do get the bone. I don't like the bone, so I'm not going to take the bone. We're going to put it away. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, let me double check. I think if you get the tainted mixture, you exhaust the die. Yeah, you do. So I can't get that die back, but I do have a different buff HP, which I will roll instead. And I get 3 buff HP. That's not bad. So an inefficient outcome actually led to a superior outcome. How about that? This is why this is a tricky game sometimes. So take 1 from the poison, heal for 1, so his HP total remains the same. We are weakened by 2, so we're going to do the same thing we did last turn and attack twice and put up 2 shields. So we did 2 damage and got 2 bones. So what we're going to do is that's 3 damage plus 1. He takes 1 damage. Oh, right. He does AoE to himself. How much damage did he do last turn? 4, I think? He did 4 damage to me, right? So that means he takes 4. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's dead. He's dead. He killed himself. Nice. Well done, me. Well done indeed. Also, that was the wrong purple is who died. This whole battle is a fucking mess. I am just... All right, then. And I'm also going to use my extended backup plan for 3 to heal myself by 3 and pump him back up to that. And we are no longer weakened. That dragon is gone, so he is not going to... he will no longer irritate us ever again. Did he hit me for 4 last turn? Did he, though? Somebody got hit by 4. Was it him or was it Patches? I'm having difficulty keeping track. We'll say that that's what happened. Either way, I think we would have him dead to rights next turn anyway. So Blue Boy is going to attack the weakest of the units, which is still Patches, for 1 and put up a shield. So we did 2 damage and put up a shield. Jesus. So I have a shield, and I reduce that by 1, and 1 of my buff HP goes away. So start of the round, purple boy is coming in. He starts in the melee position right yonder. Green guy goes first. Again, attacking. His intargetable goes away. He's attacking me because I'm next to him. 1 damage. Again, removing our buff HP first. I bleed for 1 and I heal for 2, so I get 1 back. And then Patches is going to attack the signaling baddie with 3 attacks and put up a shield. Because we need to kill him. Actually, that's overkill. He only has 1 HP. We're going to roll 2 attacks and my stem lethal, which, if I'm lucky, will instantly give me a bunch of HP. So we did do damage, so he is dead. Unfortunately, we also got the 2 true damage option, which means I lose 2 HP. I still have 1 HP left, but it's looking pretty dicey for your boy Patches over here, and I got a bone. I need to roll better. Good God. So I take 1 damage, I heal 1 damage, everything's Gucci. We're going to move 1 space forward and attack this guy 4 times. I mean, I don't think it'll matter because we're going to... Picket cannot be killed by these losers. There's literally no way he loses at all. 4 damage plus 5 because of his bonus, so this guy is super dead. So honestly, even if I fucked up on the dragon and I didn't take a bunch of AoE damage to him, I don't think Picket would have had any problems murdering him this turn anyway. So the outcome would have been unchanged. So over to round 4. Green guy is again going to attack Picket for 1. Sorry, Patches. He's going to attack Patches for 1. He does do 1 damage, so that will remove my final buff HP. Patches goes. He takes 1 damage from the bleed, but I'm going to heal first and heal 2. So I actually still have an HP. And last but not least, Patches is going to attack him 4 times. Go big or go home. So we got 2 damage and 2 bones. So 2 damage removes his shield. And I have bones, so I could needle jab him for 2. Would be decent, but I could also heal myself. And I think I will do that. I will use my heal, gear, lock, backup plan, which I do believe heals for 2, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check that. Is it heals for 1? Is that even worth it for 2 bones? That's not good at all. You know, honestly, I don't really feel like that's worth the expenditure because I could potentially get a Fortune Discovery instead. And I think I'd prefer that. It's entirely possible he'll murder me, but you know what? That's a risk I'm willing to take. On to round 5. Green guy goes, he attacks me and puts up a shield. He becomes untargetable. And he did 2 damage to me, which does in fact kill me. So there you go. Hubris, thy name is William. So obviously Patches is going to have to heal to full at the end of this. Healing myself would have prevented that outcome, but it's okay. We don't care. It's really not a problem at all. I'm not upset, you're upset. So he is dead off the mat. He is untargetable, but Picket is going to take 1 damage, heal, and move 2. So that leaves me with 2 dexterity. No, 3 dexterity. I move 2. So yeah, I'll just put up 2 shields. So I'll exhaust the one in my inventory and roll 2. And he's untargetable, so I can't roll the attacks at him for bones either. So I got 2 shield. Sorry, well, 3 shield. Sorry, a 2 and a 1. And we will Attack. Oh, that's right. I can't attack him because you can't target him, so I can't even do the +1 damage. All right, so round goes to fatigue round. He takes 1 damage. So even if I can't damage him every round, I will still outlast him because there's no way he can kill me and faster than I can kill him. So he's going to again put up a shield and do an attack. He is again untargetable, and he did do 1 damage to me, but I removed that. So my turn. Take 1 damage, heal 1 damage, does nothing to me. I'm going to exhaust one of my shields and roll it. So I have 2 shields. Got a bone. If I get enough bones, I might be able to do something to him, but in the meantime, we wrap Wreck around. He takes 1 fatigue damage. I take 1 fatigue damage. He attacks me again. He's no longer untargetable. So he doesn't get any untargetable this turn, nerd. He gets a shield, and I take no damage. My turn. My turn. I'm going to attack 4 times. You're fucking donezo. He literally dies no matter what I roll. I got 3 bones. So I'm actually, believe it or not, first things first, we're going to use my backup plan extension for 3. Actually, it's only 2. It's 2. It's a backup extension for 2 to heal myself for 3. Why is that so good? This is why the fucking Trove Loot can actually be god tier and under the right circumstances. Well, actually, he would have taken. He wasn't immune to the AoE, so he actually would have been killing himself the whole time. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He's dead regardless. This is why this game is so hard to keep track sometimes. You have to keep in mind so many different factors occurring simultaneously. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're healed to full. He's dead, and we get the unique armor, which makes us immune to Vol'Kesh's Tyrant ability, Ring of Fire effect. So I'll read it off of Vol'Kesh's character card. So Ring of Fire is one of the possible rolls that her Tyrant die can get. And it's actually most of the rolls on the die. She has 3 of those. She has 2 of her scale and 1 of an immolated human. So Ring of Fire states, deal 2 true damage to all non-adjacent units. Her Scalding Skin is the armor one, of which she has only 2 on the die. Place this die on Vol'Kesh until the start of his next turn. Adjacent units that do damage to Vol'Kesh are also dealt that amount of damage back. So it's like a better lashback. That's fucking mean. And then the Immolate, like the Human on Fire, is set ablaze. Strongest adjacent unit takes 3 true damage at the start of their next turn. God, she's fucking mean. This is a mean unit. We're gonna have a hard time versus this nerd. So the armor is in fact heavy, so we will have to get rid of most of our one of our units, most of their gear. But to be honest, I don't really feel like most of Pickett's other gear, besides his heal backup plan extension, is actually worth keeping for the next fight. So I think we'll actually get rid of his bonus loot and discard it and just throw it into the trash can, including the aqua cannon. And he will keep that armor and just be immune to the Ring of Fire. I don't feel like we're going to be not next to the dragon most of the time anyway, but hey, could be useful. So we did successfully beat this encounter. So we also get a single loot each. So I got Sleeping Darts. Before battle, reduce your total bad EQ points by 2, or Advanced Fishing Rod. During individual options of the recovery phase, you can instead roll a d6 and place that number of buff HP in a Gearlock's prep area for the next fight. So that's actually honestly really strong. So what we're going to do is we're going to discard the drone and get the fishing rod. And we're going to give is the Sleeping Darts worth trading for one of these? I don't think that it is. Honestly, I think we'll get rid of the Sleeping Darts. So what we're going to do is, first off, we're also going to trade in the Dragon Scales for the superior option. It's a Trove Loot, and since we beat a dragon, we can automatically do this. So we are looking for Dragon Center Scale. So Dragon Center scale reads, backup plan extension, 1 bone, place a defense die at 2 in an active slot. So it's like basically a better version of Gasket's backup 1 bone backup plan. We're obviously going to give that to Patches to give him a little bit of extra durability for the next fight, because Picket don't need no help rolling defense. So we did in fact have to heal Patches to full, so he is not going to get the benefit of using the fishing rod. So instead, we're going to have Picket use the advanced fishing rod, and he's going to roll a d6, and he will get that much buff HP for our boss fight. So 5, let's go, dude. So he's going to get 5 buff HP to start the fight with. That's massive. That's a pretty big deal. Okay, and we'll discard the fishing rod. Unfortunately, due to the order of operations for loot discarding, you can't do that and then keep the next loot you draw. You have to do it first and discard the loot and then potentially do that as the recovery step. So no loot finagling in that sense. So I do believe that puts us at day 9. Let's just double check. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nope, I'm dumb. I already moved it. We're on day 8. Don't give yourself a harder encounter if you don't need to. And we have plenty of victory points. So we are actually at 8, which is more than we need. Oh, I almost forgot. I didn't give myself my training points. So let's do that. So all of Picket's abilities are completely worthless, I think, in this scenario. So we're not going to give him any of those. Instead, we will give him a dexterity. So that lets him roll all of his defense and his attacks at any time. And we will give him an extra HP. Give him maximum beef. Where's the beef? As for Patches, a med kit could be useful, but I think what we're actually going to do is give him another dexterity and maybe give him another HP. No, actually, I want him to be weaker than him instead. Because I'm pretty sure Vol'Kesh attacks the stronger unit of the two. So we'll leave him as he is. And I've got 5 dexterity. I could get another attack. The defense would be easier to roll, though. And I do, but we know, you know what? No point. Because we got the Dragon Center scale. No point buffing that. So it's either more attacks or more or a medkit. The medkit could be useful. A single heal, although I have the kelp. And he has the back. You know what? No, I think the extra attack is the better option. So we'll roll for attack and see if we succeed. Success. So up to 5 attack for Patches. All right. So we begin the final confrontation. Set to 1. So Vol'Kesh's encounter is called the Ashen Summit. Place Vol'Kesh on top of the battle queue. At the start of each round, roll the d6. Vol'Kesh unleashes a fireball to that mech starting position, dealing 1 damage to it and all adjacent positions. She also has Thick Skin 1, because she's a lady dragon. So she ignores the first damage she would take every turn, not including true damage. She has Stone Perch, so Vol'Kesh cannot be targeted until round number equal to party size. So first round, she's immune. Round 2, we can start hurting her. Scald, and then her tire die, as I mentioned before, is Scalding Skin, where she basically reflects damage she takes on that turn. Ring of Fire, which deals 2 true damage to all non-adjacent units, and then Set Ablaze, which sets the strongest unit, which in this case will be Picket, and they take 3 true damage at the start of their next turn, which unfortunately will ignore the buff HP, which is not great, but she also has 3 attacks and 2 defense. So she will, in fact, attack him a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7. So she's on top of the battle queue, and it just says, I guess she just starts in the normal melee position of the blue. And she does, in fact, start at 5 on the initiative, which is pretty nasty. So the day is 8. So that's a battle queue of 16. So we are in fact gonna have to remake the 5 stack. But we're starting with, you gotta be kidding me, dude. How do I get these shit units? 4, 5, 6. He gets gonna trap one of us, you bitch. He starts at 4. God, I hate these guys. On the upside, though, Vol'Kesh's stuff actually does mean that she will activate her burn stuff on units that are her allies too. So that's actually to our benefit to have units that are not her around, because they will in fact take damage from them. It's too bad. If I'd reduced the battle queue at all, I would have been having, instead of the 5s, a bunch of 1s instead with that battle queue reducer. Maybe I should have kept that instead of this this kelp. Might have been more useful. Oh well. C'est la vie. Another dragon. This fucking loser. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, it's appropriate for the fight, I suppose. He's starting in the melee position right yonder. Bizarrely, Vol'Kesh is a melee unit. I would have expected her to be ranged. Curious. Then our final 5 stack for 15 is the dodging loser in 1 mind, which means he does cause him to attack everyone. Well, he'll attack whoever he's next to anyway. He's at 6. So actually, that may be to our benefit, because that means we can make him hit Vol'Kesh instead. So it does say that Vol'Kesh can't be targeted until round 2. I would assume that means that he will attack instead him, but he has a dodge, which means he can't be hit by attacks. I guess he'd be blind striked for 1, but other than that, I don't really know how that would work. It's kind of a weird interaction. I've never seen something like that before. What a funny combo. Anyway, our initiatives in this battle are going to be 4 and 3, respectively. So Patches will start ahead of the purple boy, and Picket starts at the very bottom. Oh boy, what a fucking putz. My goodness. So, we are going to give the armor to Patches, because I think Picket's mostly going to be directly in Vol'Kesh's face, and the healing revive is going to stay with Picket. Yes, that's what we will do. So Picket is going to start here. So that guy's going to go 1, 1, 2. And then Blind Strike Boy. Actually, no, first, Vol'Kesh is going to move towards us. So we definitely don't want to stand anywhere near those, because if she rolls a 6 or a 4, we could take damage, unfortunately. But I think I have to put Patches here, because I want him to blind strike him. And I can throw the toxins on him to kill him. Also, 16 means we've got 1 level 1 baddie in the queue as well. So we are going to roll a trap for Picket. Got a 4. So a 4 result is that the poison dice, I think? No, 4 is the electrical trap, which means you can't use skills on the round 1, which doesn't matter because I don't have any abilities to roll on Picket anyway. So the joke's on you, loser. You did nothing at all. So it's gonna go green. So green, then blue, then yellow, then purple. So ideally, I want green to move, go 1, 2. Which means I guess blue's gonna move down here. I'm gonna attack patches there. If only I could start. If only I could start on these range positions instead of the melee positions. This really gives me minimal options for my starting placements. So I guess it would have to be like this. So I don't want to start near the edges. And I do want that guy to stay next to him. So we're going to do it like that. Yep. Here's where we're going to start. All right. So first things first, green guy. Well, first things first, we roll a d6. So the Vol'Kesh fireballs, the third position, right there. So this guy's going to take damage. So the fireball deals 1 true damage to him. So not a lot, but every damage counts. It'll all add up. So the green guy is going to attack me twice and roll 1 bone, or 1 shield. I roll so many shield bones, I'm calling them bones now. He does 2 damage, and he puts up a shield. So Patches takes 2. 2. I also forgot to roll Picket's defense, so we'll do that real quick. 3. Not bad. Not bad at all. So he does 1 mind. So this guy attacks immediately. He's going to blind strike this guy for 1, removing his shield. And he's going to attack with 3 dice. Actually, he can't. So he can't attack him. His things do no damage. But he will not put up a shield because he's only attacking. Yeah. So that's the end of his round. Blue, Vol'Kesh is going to roll her Tyrant die. 3 attacks and 2 shields against Picket. So she got her defensive shield, 3 damage, and 2 shields. So if I hit her, I would take reflect damage. But I can't hit her this turn anyway, so it's not relevant. So I take 1 less, so I only take the 2. So I only remove 2 of my shields. I was really hoping she would do her flamey bit, and then this guy would take the damage and kill himself, but no dice. Get it? Because it's a dice game. I'm hilarious. So this guy's going to move next to Picket and attack me 3 times and put up 2 shields. And potentially weaken me, which is really lame, honestly, all things considered. He does 3 damage and puts up 3 shields. So I reduce 1. I take 1 on my shield, and I take 1 damage total, which will be my buff HP. And that's non-negotiable. You have to take it from buff HP first, even though I'll regenerate next turn anyway, which would be better. Over to Patches, who will first regenerate 1 HP. You're going to throw toxins on the monkey. So that's 1. I'd like to put on my chain reactor, my stem belt, my stem lethal. That's 4. I can't hurt him, so I'll throw a shield. And we'll attack him for once, because although you can't damage him, you can still roll the dice anyway. Yes, that's what we will do. Nice. Okay, first things first, I get the 1 instantly training on my health, so I get the health immediately. Secondly, the bone, so I'm not going to keep that. I'll put that back in my spot. Same for the... Can I get fucking poison one of these goddamn times? I swear to God. I do get the regen, so that's dude. Nice. I get a shield, and I do 1 damage. But I can't do the damage. That does nothing. I was hoping to get a bone with the attack. That's why I rolled it anyway. So I don't get any buff HP on Patches, but I did make myself a little tankier, so there is that. Purple guy is immediately going to blind strike the strongest unit next to him, but since Vol'Kesh says she can't be targeted, right? Well, blind strike doesn't target, technically speaking, so the shield will be removed. Then he's going to move one space forward and attack the strongest unit, which in this case, so Patches has 7 and Picket has 8. So he's going to attack Picket. So he's going to attack Picket for 3 and put up a shield. Drop the dice. Where'd your dice go? There you are. Come back here. All right, 3 attacks, 1 shield. So he did 2 bones, 2 damage, which is actually only 1 damage to Picket. All right. Next, it's Picket's turn, and he took no actual damage, so he doesn't regenerate any at all. He is weakened by 2, so that's irritating. And we can't hurt Vol'Kesh anyway. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to throw up 2 shields and throw 2 attacks, because our attacks are reduced. And actually, how does the... Let me actually double check what weaken does, because maybe it reduces my attack stat by 2. Yeah, so yeah, it would make a difference on Picket. Currently, if I got Chem Kit and buffed his attack stat up, it may actually be possible that the weaken wouldn't affect you because you'd have a higher attack stat than that. So I got 2 bones, 2 damage, and a shield because he does 2 bonus damage. So this guy takes 2. I could shield bash, but God knows I don't want to. And that is his turn. Over to round 2. So first things first, we're going to roll the fireball. So I don't think anyone... Actually, no, we got a couple of units that are next to such a thing. So we got a 3. So that's this spot. So this guy takes the true damage, which means it bypasses his shields. But he still has his shields up. Then the green guy goes, which is this loser. So he will attack for 2 and put up a shield. So he did 2 damage and put up a shield. So I take one of my shields away and I take 1 damage. He does 1 mind, so the this loser is going to attack again immediately. So he blind strikes the strongest unit, which is him, which means he takes no damage, and he'll attack him 3 times. Again. Did 2 damage, which means he only did 1 damage to my shield. And then blue actually goes. So Vol'Kesh loses that. And she will hit me with 3 attacks, right? Yeah, 3 attacks, 2 defense again. Well, 1 defense because she already has a shield up. And I really want her to do a Ring of Fire instead. Ring of Fire, let's go. So she does do 3 damage and puts up another shield. So I do take 1 shield, 1 less, and 1 buff HP damage. This disappeared at the end of my turn. Ring of Fire means that everything that isn't directly next to her is going to take 2 true damage, which includes this loser, and this loser. But Picket is next to her and therefore doesn't, and Patches has the armor, so he doesn't take it either. So that was exactly what I wanted to have happen. So good job, me. That was superior positioning. Dragon Boy over here has no more shields to roll, but he is going to attack me 3 times. And he will again weaken me, unfortunately. He does 3 damage. So reduced by 1, so I take 2 damage, which means all my buff HP is gone. But that's okay, because that was free buff HP we got there. So we'll take that. Patches will heal for 2, because I have the regen dice locked in, and his passive heals me as well. So we're going to finish off. So what is our best option here? Probably finishing off Purple Boy before he gets around is the best move. So we're gonna roll. We got 5 dexterity. So he has 2 HP. We're gonna roll 3 attacks for starters. We're gonna roll the buff HP for him and a defense die for 5 total. Yes. So don't fuck this up, Patches. You got one job to do, and you did it. You did it perfectly. Well, almost perfectly. You could have got more shield, but that's fine. 3 damage, so he's dead. 1, 2, 3. Get the fuck out of here, loser. No one likes you anyway. All my homies hate that guy. So this guy's going to come in at the end, start of next round, which is almost immediately. That's okay, because that guy's a loser. We also get the 5 buff HP locked into our active. 2, 3, 4, 5. God, Patches is just a towering stack of HP. What an absolute lad. Over to Picket. Picket has again taken no damage, so therefore he has none to thing. He does have the weaken on him because he did attack him, and the effect happens no matter what he does. But we can actually start damaging Vol'Kesh now, and that is exactly what we're going to do. So we can only hit her 2 times, and I mean, we could try and finish off the dragon to our left so that we won't have any more weaken on us, which is actually, I think, a good idea. So actually, we will do that. So we're going to put our 2 defense up and throw 2 attack, which because we can't do more than that because we're reduced. So we do 4 damage, and we put up a shield, and we get another bone, which is great. Bones are very helpful at this stage. So 2 and 2. 1, 2. So if the fireball hits him, he'll be dead. If Vol'Kesh breathes fire, he'll also be dead. So a pretty good outcome. So round 3. So first things first, we're going to roll the fireball. So we want a 3 or a 5. We got a 2. So that means this guy takes 1 true damage. And no one else. Not the worst outcome. So green is this guy is going to attack. Oh, also this thing is in here as well, unranged spot there. So he's going to attack with 2 attacks again. 4 Patches. Does 2 damage. So Patches removes 1 shield and takes 1 buff HP damage. He does inspire him to attack, so he's going to roll 1 attack versus. In this case, it's actually Picket, I think. That has, or they're equal. They both have 8 HP at the moment, so it's whoever I pick. So we're going to pick Picket because he rolled a bone, so it means he does no damage at all, and he's untargetable. But I'm not going to attack him anyway, so I don't care. So that's that. Next up is Vol'Kesh. Vol'Kesh is going to start by rolling her Tyrant die and 3 attacks. She can roll no more shields, so that's to our benefit, actually. So she got Ring of Fire again and did 2 damage with a bone. So I take 1 shield away, and he reduces the damage by 1. This is going to be gone. So we do 2 damage, true damage to everything that's not next to her, which is for everything else on the board besides me. So my characters take no damage, and these guys all take 2 damage. Damn it, this guy was almost dead. This guy is dead, and he's the bigger threat, so that's okay by my book. This guy's like, he's a non-factor. That's what you would say, a complete non-factor. So I think at this point, the battle's probably going to be ours. I think there's very little chance that we fail. So I would regenerate by 2, but I took no damage on Patches. Patches is going to go 1, 2. Next to Vol'Kesh. That's 3 dexterity left for him. And we're going to throw a toxin on Vol'Kesh and throw 2 attacks. And I swear to God, Patches, if you get bones on this toxin 1 more fucking time, so help me God. All right, much better. 2 damage, removes her shields, setting up Picket to do some damage. And she's got 2 poison on her. So at the start of her turn, she'll take 2 true damage, which does in fact remove her thick skin. And keep in mind, thick skin does not reduce damage to shields, only damage directly to HP, and it does not affect true damage. No, true damage. Thick skin does not reduce true damage. That's only hardy. Hardy reduces true damage. So over to Picket. Picket would also heal for a regen, but again, he's taken no damage, so he doesn't. But this turn, we have no weaken on us, so he's going to roll 4 attacks and his 2 shields, like an actual G. And we'll see how much damage he does. So he did 4, 2 shields, and a bone. So that's 5 damage total, reduced by 1. So 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 by her thick skin. So she's got 3 HP. So once she takes her true damage next turn, she'll be down to 1. So we got this in the bag. His untarget goes away. He's going to attack the weakest unit, which is anyone of my choice. So we'll just pick we'll pick Patches because he's got a bunch of buff HP. And he'll put up a shield, but he's again not a factor. So 1 damage, 1 shield. Oh no, not my buff HP. How will I ever survive? How will I cope with this outcome? Oh man, they haven't even done any damage to me. They haven't even done any damage to me, bro. So she takes 2 true damage, not reduced by thick skin. Thick skin does not touch that. Reduces the poison to 1. So she's going to roll 2 shields and her 3 attacks and her tyrant die. So best case scenario, she rolls her AoE again and kills this guy, leaving her alone. Worst case scenario, she rolls the reflect damage, which would be mildly irritating, or she rolls the ML8, which would hurt my units. So she did, in fact, deal 2 damage with a bone and put up 2 shields. So that is 1 damage reduced, which is 1 shield. And she is going to reflect all damage that we inflict on her for the next turn. But I could do nothing and she'll die to the poison. So Patches is actually going to kill this guy instead, because he's not untargetable. So Patches is going to roll 5 attacks versus that thing, because I can. And I did 4 damage plus a bone. So this guy is dead. Going for a full clear. Nothing left. Scorch the fucking earth, just like Vol'Kesh would have done. Over to Picket. Picket, of course, doesn't give 2 single shits if he's going to take damage from hitting this thing. So he's going to roll his 2 shields and 4 attacks like an absolute god. So I have full bones, not 6 but 5 on him. I dealt 6 damage and a shield. So that's 7 damage total. So 2 to remove the shield, 1 from thick skin. Makes 3 total, and then she takes another 4 and dies, and then he takes 4 back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, not the 4 damage. What will I ever do? Although technically, I suppose he only takes 1 reflected because he actually only dealt 1 damage to her life total. And then I heal myself with the kelp, and I'm back to full for a perfect textbook finish. Take that, Vol'Kesh. And unlike the base game, there are actually epilogue cards for the characters. So I will read that. This is Vol'Kesh's epilogue. Her head ignites. The fire that once shot only from her mouth explodes through her eye sockets as an armor-melting inferno engulfs her skull. Vol'Kesh has terrorized many regions of Daylor in recent months, but the reason has never been entirely clear. The kobolds claim her motives are pure, both figuratively and literally, an attempt to set things back to the beginning after the Council's perverse experiments. It's impossible to say for sure, as the line between good and evil is getting harder and harder to decipher. And if we were doing the campaign equivalent of this this scenario, then you would also get her tyrant die to use in further fights. So what that would do is, if you roll, and this is rolled before each battle, so you get a permanent buff essentially, and it goes into your active or your temporary. Oh, I see. It's trap. Okay. So the effects are, if you roll her shield, you get the next time this gearlock is attacked, prevent all damage and negative effect dice for that turn. That goes in an active slot. If you get her ring of fire, Then she gets, instead, Cremation Station. Place trap on an available position on the battle mat. The first unit to step onto that position ends its movement and is dealt 2 true damage. Or, if you get the Immolate thing, which I never rolled during the fight, instead, all baddies that enter the battle mat start with HP reduced by 1. So a very, very powerful reward for beating her in the campaign version of this. So that wraps up this iteration playthrough of Too Many Bones Undertow. I probably made a mistake here and there, but overall I think we did pretty well with the rules. And obviously we set ourselves up pretty well by the end of that. I think I've pretty cleanly displayed why getting more dexterity, health, and attack are your best options for ensuring victory, and splashing a few abilities here and there for consistency. Stats give consistency, and then stats for particular either buffs or benefits against particular enemies. As you saw in the first fight we were in, not having an ability like Toxins hurt us in trying to eliminate the dodge baddie. And the same would have been true if we had to fight someone with hardy or thick skin, for example, if they had a particularly beefy unit. But in the end of the day, I could have also just been needle jabbing him down with Patch's ability too. So we had options for killing a unit like that, but we ended up not thinking that through. And so instead we had to fight to the fatigue round. But all in all, I think this went pretty well. And obviously, if you think that the way that the battle mat is set up and the way you can visually see it is sufficient for your purposes of playing externally, then we can do this on next weekend. And if not, then no big deal. We'll just skip a week. So I will see you all when I next see you.